so loud today, Craig. Hello.
Welcome to the party, Craig.
Okay.
And everybody else here. I just want to say, Archer, it's a special episode. Did you know that?
Why?
26 subscriber special. We are officially we are 26% of the way of getting our own YouTube URL.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm fucking talking about.
That's big step.
But we got a problem here. We got 26 people united on the ground floor. We just need 74 more. That's it, guys.
Yeah.
74 more. I real quick. As always, my name is Trusty Pax, being joined by my brave companion, Archer King.
Hello, children of the old ones.
As the great plan demands, I would just like to thank, we got a couple of people out there. Ollie, just like to say hello, Ollie. You've been watching us for quite a while. Love your comments, man.
Mm-hmm.
Always enjoy engaging with you. We got a new one, Taran O'Reilly. So we know they're Irish at least. They had to laugh at the your axe of doggo comment.
I still hear it as that too. It's just like it's in my head.
Yeah, I can't unhear it either. Like I was pretty. I think it just like flew under my radar, and then when I read that comment, I was like, "Yep, that's canon. That's the way it is now."
Yeah, they're gonna change it. CA's gonna change it.
The axe of doggo
They're
thirst.
rewriting the lore.
They've done it before, so why not now?
Man.
Let's see. Jordan Brandon talking about some of the Drika puns. Talking about some Wood Elf DLC, man. It's been a little while since I remember exactly what we spoke about. Because guess what? No fucking news on that front.
It's coming though. Wood Elf DLC sometime.
It's coming
Soon, TM.
Soon, TM. We got some Amazon trailer that I just for Troy that didn't do anything for me. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about that in the post show because I have some thoughts on that.
I don't have any thoughts on it, so I'd be curious to hear what you have to say.
Yeah,
it was, man. It just flew right by, but we'll save that for the post show.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'd like to say hello again to Sean Aurel Gaudreau. I miss you, man. Thanks for mentioning the comment about the grudges, how they get more severe, and I didn't know that.
Bitch to me.
Yeah, Wolford can be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And sorry we forgot about an entire basically function of a race.
Yeah. That was the thing.
But it was so forgettable, man. That's the way it is.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the nature of the actual crafting system that I just we forgot about it because it's so inconsequential and does not matter.
Yep. That's basically it.
Yeah. Give or take.
So today, we make our glorious return to the Lizardmen as Nakai the Wanderer.
Part of the Great Plan.
He is a slave to the Great Plan. He was part of the first spawning of Croxagores. One of the OGs, last of his kind. I mean, there still are Croxagores, mostly living in Florida with me. Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen them out here, man. Luckily, they haven't picked up like giant warhammers or anything like that yet, or clubs.
The skinks haven't given it to him yet.
No. Or the was it? Oh, that was a comment. One comment I didn't understand for some reason, and I literally just got it when I was scrolling through them. Ollie, when he said, when you get the Boxagore Doom stack together, and I'm like, Boxagore? He means Croxagore. No, he meant Boxagore.
Well, the sacred Croxagores have like punchy things. I don't know. They're like big metal magic boxing gloves.
Like the Iron Man gauntlets, basically.
Yeah. I think that's what he was referring to.
Yeah, that is. I don't know why I didn't get it at first. It took a while. It took a while for me.
We got it. It's fine.
Oh well, you got it. It took me a while. I had to work on it.
That's okay.
So this is the first time we went back to one of the races that we covered. No, we did
high elves twice.
Yeah, we did high elves twice. Okay.
Thanks DLC.
FLC. Well, DLC and FLC.
Yeah. And we didn't do them in a row. We just went back.
Yeah. We straight up more Tyrion.
Bring me battle. I don't know. That's all I could think of when I thought of Tyrion.
I haven't played him in so long.
Since you first started the game.
Yeah. The tutorial that I played once, and then had my little brother play once, just to show him how cool it was.
Yeah. Look at this guy. He's a badass.
Yeah. Well, you only have so many options. It's either him, Queek, or who else was there? Mazdamundi.
Big Papa Maz, yeah.
Big Papa Maz. So I had an idea. So I kind of realized that the Lizardmen crew is kind of like a boy band, almost. Kind of squint at it, right?
What?
Yeah. Okay. So stick with me.
Okay.
So we got Tic Tac Toe.
Mm-hmm.
He's obviously like the innocent young one, right? Like he's to get the girls into it early, so they're hooked.
Hold on. What does Tic Tac Toe play in this boy band?
Well, I don't know.
Or do they all just sing? Is it like a One Direction?
No. See, that's the beauty of it. Nobody plays anything.
Okay.
We buy that music and just have it produced. I mean, they're not actually singing anything. This is all lip sync, of course. Except for one of them who has talent, and I'm trying to figure out who that is. So you get Tic Tac Toe. He's like the baby faced little guy. Non-threatening. Clearly, and then. Also, who has a clear role is Mazdamundi, who is the manager, who's probably abusive and slipping speed into their drinks so they can perform show after show.
Yeah, killing all the other boy bands in the world and just blaming it on the Great Plan. He's like, oh, well, the old ones demanded it, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
You can't argue with that. And I can't. Tehenoen, Krakar, and Gorok, I can't figure out, but I did come up with what Nakai is.
Okay.
Nakai is the guy in the boy band who obviously is too fucking old to be in that boy band anymore. He wears a leather jacket. Occasionally in teen magazine, they're like, oh my God, he's smoking a cigarette outside of a bar.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out, he's actually married and has 2 kids because he's in his mid-30s.
Yeah, he's 33.
He's got just enough of they put a little bit of makeup on there. He can pull late 20s, and that's how he gets in the boy band.
He's so cool. He's got all these scars.
In fact, he might even be divorced, and that's but somehow he's still in the boy band.
Krotgar is just as old as him, give or take. Yeah.
Well, see, that's what I was trying to figure that out too, because they're Nakai and Krakar are about 8,000, 9,000 years old, approximately. Yeah. And the Slan are older than them, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, they have to be. I'm pretty sure.
It depends on the generation, but yeah, I think so. I think all of them are.
At least the species is. I mean, species-wise. Or class-wise. I guess they're all the same species.
I mean, not technically. I think they're just a culture.
Well, they're different spawnings. This is difficult.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Really dare I say racist? But we're trying to split hairs. I don't know. Slan think they're better than everybody else. The Saurus, they ain't too bright. Let's be honest.
If I was a giant ass toad sitting on a chair that floats, and I just have to say something and people would eat that shit up, I'd do it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, dude, they told me to go do some shit. The old ones demand you give me a coffee. Go on.
Bring me gold. Special plants.
Yeah. Dead Skaven.
Lots of Skaven.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much as Tehenoen demands. But let's see. let's
That was
focus.
a weird chapter in the history of Renown and Fear.
Moving on. So today we bring it back full circle. We started with Wolfric, not Wolfric.
What?
Wait, having drinks was a mistake.
Close
Marcus Wolfhard. Marcus Wolfhard. I was close.
Yeah.
We started with Marcus Wolfhard. If you haven't seen our initial episode, you know it was a little rough. We're always
start somewhere.
Yeah, we got to start somewhere, and we started with Marcus Wolfhard for some.
Yeah, and we're just like, hey, game, fuck us up.
You know, just get that sandpaper out, make it as rough as possible, please, because you know, I don't know, but it was a great challenge, and Nakai, although he pretty much disappeared from the campaign around turn 5, and didn't reappear till the final quest battle. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
At least, you know, I don't know. Dr. Robotnik has the decency to show up at the end of every chapter. But Nakai, at least when he's under our control, it goes a lot more different. He's a crux.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Well, luckily, I had a lot of more practice, so I'm very interested to hear how that went for you.
I see. Okay.
I did have one failed run. Don't get me wrong.
One?
Actually, no. I had 2. I had one failed. My first run in the Vortex campaign fucked up. You know, Citadel of Dusk or whatever, those high elves caught me out. And then I did a Mortal Empires run that was not quite as long because I did about 180 turns in Vortex for some crazy reason.
I did 200 Mortal Empires.
Well, it goes a lot by faster when you don't have to manage settlements.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, you kind of do. I don't know. We'll talk about it because I had a lot of taking care of settlements.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about. Mortal Empires, I definitely lost my first campaign as well because getting off of the island of Albion, a little tricky, more tricky than you might think.
Can be, yep.
Never use. I'm just gonna throw this out here. Never go into forced march until you have a second army hovering around somewhere as a backup. That's just my advice.
Or just use like as many skink chiefs as you can get in every direction to make sure that you're not getting caught out.
Yeah, I only had the one. I think I'm a big fan of forced march, and when you get ambushed by 2 friggin' Skaven armies, two turns in a row, that wears on you.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that ambush stance for the Skaven is so fucking bullshit in this campaign. It's stupid. It's so dumb. It made me so mad so many times.
It's a certainty. There's not even a statistical error there.
No. Well, like the thing is that you like have to go to Lestria, period. Like in both campaigns.
Well, yeah, in Marcus Wolfhart's as well. Is that what we're saying?
No, I'm saying like both Mortal Empires and Vortex, you have to go to Lestria, period.
I didn't bother to in Mortal Empires. I got to the point where I was in an active war with the Empire, and then I was kind of like, I did enough turns with this.
Like, that's fine.
I'd like to hear your overall opinion between the 2 campaigns, because I have some. I thought long and hard about some of my thoughts about this campaign because there were some new things that they did with it. Definitely unique things, like how we were talking last time about possibly creating a Grombrindle to make him a Horde faction. Yeah. And this seems... I have my problems with it, but there's some things I like about it.
Yeah, like for me, the overall opinion is overall poor, I'll say. Like I don't think very highly of this like campaign as the way it plays. But there are some things in it that I'm like, okay, I get it. Like some things I like. Yeah.
It feels like an experiment, right?
Yeah, it just feels like a failed one.
You know, if it wasn't for the charisma that Nakai exudes, I would agree with you. The The Mortal Empires campaign, I definitely agree with you. I have it. I'll put it more into perspective when we get there, but I was not a fan of the Mortal Empires campaign, and that's not to say I didn't do. I think I did about like I don't know. You know what? Instead of guessing, I'm just gonna take a gander real quick. Like I said, Mortal Empires. I did 108 turns in Mortal
Okay.
Empires, so
Yep.
I did a little bit, just enough to take what was it, the Doom Pit. That
Oh,
was
okay. Yeah, like where Clan Mulder is.
Yeah, I think I went a few turns. Yeah, a few turns beyond that, because I started war with the Empire and Kislev, and I kind of just decided to finish off my Vortex campaign because I kind of did them together a little bit.
Okay.
Or I took a break at one point and started some Mortal Empires.
Yeah, and then just came back to it after, sort of thing.
Yeah, and the turns go by fast, man. It's not like the dwarves where you're managing. You're balancing a friggin' budget, man. In every in every province, trying to make sure you've got enough funds to build whatever public order buildings. Do you want to be able to recruit better units closer to the front that you're operating on? There's a lot of There's a lot of questions you don't have to worry about in this
Yeah,
campaign.
yeah. There's lots of just like I want to go here. Okay.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do, the great plan demands I go east, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna do.
Great plan is telling me this way.
This way. You're making this up, Nakai. No, I'm not.
No.
You wouldn't question a Croxagore that large.
I don't know. I was kind of reading the lore about them. Like they're very interesting, but like they're dumb is the wrong word, but they're not exactly,
Well, we'll see. What I drew from it was that Nakai being of the first spawning of the Croxagore, like subtype, I guess you could say. Like the initial Croxagores were I don't know. These are probably other people who know more about Warhammer and their speculation that the initial Croxagores were probably still smarter than the Saurus of the current era. So
Okay.
probably not as smart as Croc are, but still, above the regular Saurus heroes, I guess you could say, that you can recruit. And to me, that makes sense. He does exhibit an independence. Like, real quick, I was trying to think of something funny way to describe this. Croxagores, in kind of the current stage of Lizardman society, they serve the important function of picking things up and putting things down.
Yep.
And if you pick enough things up and put enough things down, you can build glorious temples. And that's all Croxagores are essentially good for when they're not fighting. They're
Construction workers.
They're not even, and that's putting construction workers in a bad light, because I know plenty of intelligent construction workers. The skinks have to basically spell it out for them and tell them specifically what they need to do. Yeah. Whereas Nakai was of the first ever spawning of Croxagores. He's the last of that spawning because he was the only survivor of his spawning at Quetzal. Was it Quetzal?
He was spawned at Talangsla.
Yeah, that city.
Yeah.
And but he was the last survivor of that initial spawning. So there is kind of a uniqueness to him in that he's about 9,000 years old, as old as Croc are, the oldest source warrior of his spawning. And he goes around, he has the independence, he lost his initial city that he was kind of functioning in. And ever since then, he's earned the moniker of the Wanderer and the Spirit of the Jungle, because he always appears either when the fighting is the most desperate, or he appears right before a big battle. So if he shows up and there has been no violence yet, the Lizardmen know there's a storm on the horizon.
Ah, shit.
Yeah. Ah, shit. Here we go again.
Every like lore explanation of Nakai I watched talked about like him defending the Bridge of Stars.
Yeah,
himself,
that was a cool story.
which is like a super badass feat. But I also like the one where he just like dueled a giant rat ogre.
Yeah, he was with Tehenowin in that one, I think.
Well, yeah, it was like during Tehennowin's like time or whatever.
And Nakai guest stars in Tehenowin's, film.
What
At
is
the
this, a crossover episode?
no, well, it's not a crossover. They're all lizard men. But at the Battle of Redfield, uh, as Archer was saying, Nakai did battle with the largest rat ogre on record, some might say. And it was the rat ogre of Clan Pestilence. I don't even think it had a name, but it nearly Nakai ripped the damn thing apart. But the diseases it carried almost took Nakai out.
I just like that he like laid down for a week and then just got up and walked off.
Yeah,
It's like, no, I'm good. Don't worry about it.
Fine. He did he got awarded by the Skinks, who kind of kept him alive. Like Skinks really kind of adore him. They give him these kind of like golden medallions every once in a while after great victories that he wears all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of interesting reading the lore too that skinks and Croxigors are like very intertwined actually.
Really, describe that to me. I mean, I understand them being intertwined as in, they're a team. The Skinks do the planning and help the Croxigors figure out how to do the building. Shit.
Yeah, I mean like it's more or less like that, but they're like spawned like right beside each other essentially.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so they're like spawned together as groups, and like it's sort of a give and take relationship, if that makes sense.
No, I get that. The way you just described that, I immediately thought how Tehenowin kind of got the shaft from the Salon when he was talking about Sotek demanding, the purge of the Skaven in certain temple cities, and they rejected him. And it did seem like some of the background that I was looking into, like Croxigors do get along very well with, skinks who often get looked. I feel like skink lives matters too.
Skink lives matter.
they get looked down upon by the Slan. They had their prophet of Sotek, and they were like, we feel the great plan does not include this in their designs or whatever. They didn't take them seriously.
Yeah.
And Nakai shows up when they need him. But that's interesting. I didn't know they spawn next to each other. Yeah. And it does give a really good idea, of a harmonious relationship. The Croxigors are the physical embodiment, and Skinks are the more intellectual side.
Yeah, and even in battle, it's kind of interesting because it's like how you use them in game too. Is just like Skinks will swarm an enemy, and Croxigors will go in with them and sort of be like the actual like killing power. If that makes sense. Like they'll stand in like hordes of skinks.
No, that's a great strategy because when you get those larger units that lower model count, just they're easier to get. I know they usually have like lower melee defense, so they tend to get hit more often.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if they get like nuts deep and Skaven clan rats, or God forbid something worse. I mean, they do take a lot of hits really quickly. I've seen my Croxigors take a beating. I lost in one quest battle. I lost one of my sacred spawnings of Croxigors.
Like the blessed Croxigors, or the sacred, or like the blessed ones.
The blessed spawning. It wasn't the one. It was not the Boxigors. It
wasn't the Power Fist. Yeah.
No, it wasn't the Power Fist, but it was the sacred spawning that you can unlock with the. I don't even. It's basically the system of old ones' favor.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know the favor of the old ones.
Just describe it. Yeah, we'll get into that, but I believe it's described as the old one's favor.
Yeah, that's like the currency for it. Yep.
So that's cool. I'm a big fan of the Croxigors. I really like their aesthetic. they're giant walking alligators using armor. Just look at the size of them. Look at the teeth.
Look at them.
It's just, you're gonna have a bad time. And I just really want to bring up Nakai has probably one of the most glorious charging animations. Everybody comments on it.
He just like jumps through everything.
Frolics, man. He skips.
He just frolics.
You know, so, he's not actually like yelling. He's just smiling and happy as he swings his giant golden mace back and to and fro as he skips through. You know, it's great.
That was that was a thought process. Like every time, like he's not the best lizardman lore for sure.
No.
But he's lots of fun to use, especially like fighting early game Skaven and stuff like that. Because I'll just be like, okay, go bathe in Skaven blood, because like you'll just go and stand in the center of like countless rats and come out with no health loss and like 1,000 kills.
Like 4 different units all piling on top of him.
Oh yeah, he'll take it. It doesn't matter. Like late game Nakai 2 will just like pop down a bunch of like armor piercing and like leadership loss, and they're just gone.
Yeah, campaign wise, I actually watched a video recently. I don't know if you saw it. I can't remember if it was by Turin or Zerkovich. Either one, they're both great YouTubers. They were listing I wish I could remember. They were listing the 5 worst multiplayer legendary lords.
Oh, that was Turin.
Turin, thank you.
Yeah.
And Nakai made the list.
Yeah, my lizard boys got so disrespected in that. Fuck me. Yeah,
I can kind of see it though, multiplayer wise. Not that I've ever played it, so I can't know for sure, but I see what he's getting at.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Nakai is really cool and he's fun to use. I've confederated him as like once when I was playing a Tehenoan campaign.
You're lying. He did not survive long enough for you.
I guarantee it. I will show you the fucking save game where he has an army of just straight Croxagors, because I own half the world in that campaign.
So you got the one playthrough ever where he just recruited Crocs, and I guess that was a good move.
No, I just gave him Crocs, and I was like, all right, go punch down the walls to a city with your fucking Boxagors.
I realized I didn't even need a skink chief to knock down walls. The Croxagors just pile on through. They push past people.
Yeah, Nakai just boots down gates and walks in.
And you can just run through them and then, surround them anyway.
You know what that's really good for too is like if you're not like the attacking, or if you're the attacking force and the enemy's kind of like just sitting still, if you like send Nakai to an enemy behind, like if they've got archers and like spearmen in front, he'll just like do his animation through the spearmen and just be in the back line instantly. And I'm like, okay, cool. Shut down that unit, I guess.
No, I mean, facing Nakai, like especially as a Skaven, like I don't know how, like their average clan rat seems to be about like 4'5" or something. I'm not exactly sure how tall they are. But facing down to Nakai would be pretty fucking terrifying, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. Alligators are pretty fucking powerful, and then you got this one on his hind legs wielding a giant weapon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not. Especially, have you seen his campaign where he does like the point and slit thing?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, man. I saw that. I was like kind of it was on a quest battle, and I was like I think I was just sitting there or something, kind of looking at shit, and then I saw him do the point and slitting his throat, and I was like, oh man, that's going on. That's going on a thumbnail. I'm gonna get that.
Just Nakai pointing you down.
Yeah, or just crossing his neck, like
yeah.
I'm getting that on the thumbnail. It's just a matter of what the background is. Is it going to be in the rain? Is it going to be in the dark? Is it going to be in the sun?
Just dead Skaven.
Dead Skaven. I want to get some blood on him, man. He's got to wade through that, and then we'll get that picture. Take me back to reality, man. Do you want me to go to race attributes for? Well, I guess they're not even race attributes because they're
Yeah, in terms of lore, like we pretty much covered it. Nakai's not that much of a very reoccurring character. Like he is very much just he appears, he kicks some ass, and then he leaves again.
Well, yeah, the Bridge of Stars. He actually took out. I do want to cover that. It was during the was that the fall of Ita? Well, it was almost.
Yeah, it was like the invasion of chaos that led to the vortex being made.
Yeah. So on the Bridge of Stars, Nakai, along with they're defending the city of Ita, where Lord Croak was performing a giant spell, and Nakai ended up being the last lizard standing on that bridge, and eventually the Chaos Horde just gave up because they lost so many thousands trying to get past him. They wiped out his allies on that bridge, except for him, and nobody could get past him. And the reason partly why they gave up was they actually succeeded in taking the city on every other side, the other approaches. Nakai was the only one who actually succeeded in keeping them from the the bridge that they were coming through his way. And I was reading that to like the present day, demon and chaos spawn do not go near that bridge because it is actually terrifying to them from just the collective memory that Nakai has left in that specific location.
Can hear the screams of thousands of demons.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the terror of losing their corporeal form in such a pathetic way, being ripped apart and eaten by this,
big ass lizard.
Yeah, as big as. Yeah, like you said, he jumps into Tehanoin's timeline. He fights Clan Pestilence. There was one cool thing. I'll save it for the Mortal Empires campaign, but I did learn a bit about Albion because there is an actual connection between him and Albion. And it sounded there was like a lore book or like a campaign with a tabletop that focused on Albion, and I want to get into it later because it seems very interesting. And I'm a little, that's where I'll get into the Mortal Empire side of things.
Sure.
But anyway, transition. Let's get back to the basics here. We got Nakai the Wanderer as the legendary lord. Spirit of the Jungle is the faction. Now, his faction colors are kind of like a light blue, white, black colors. I think it looks kind of cool. I kind of like the aesthetics of like these light blue Saurus warriors that kind of stand out, as they're swarming the Kroxig wars. I like the colors.
I'd say it's second coolest to Tehanoin's.
Yeah, yep.
The black stripes are awesome.
Yeah, Tehanoin's got him beat, but it's a close second. Just in my opinion. So the interesting thing about Nakai is there another race that operates as a horde? There can't be. There's no other race that isn't already a horde that has like a single legendary lord that operates as a horde faction. I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, some of them sort of touch on it, like the Black Arcs, but that's not really a horde.
Yeah, and like the all Vampire Coast legendary lords are like technically a horde, but also not. Yeah. So there's that too.
They are and they aren't. You see, the one thing that I like about Nakai, you kind of knocked him earlier, and fair enough to your criticism. The one thing Nakai does right is, instead of raising settlements, he is a horde. He does not settle down. You leave behind vassal states of the defenders of the Great Plan, and there is some control. We'll get into the little bit of the functions of that. But the big problem with being the Beastmen and being the Chaos right now, at least in my opinion, many people's opinion, when you raise a city, anybody can come in behind you and reoccupy that, like the next turn after you've taken it. And the AI does not. So they get bonus growth. They get they get all sorts of bonuses. So it can go from like a wrecked settlement to like a level 3 settlement in an impossible number of turns for you as the player, and it's kind of stupid. You don't feel like you ever get anywhere because as you're carving a path through civilization, the competing races are just filling it up behind you. And at least with Nakai the Wanderer, there was one time in my campaign when I was losing settlements left and right to Techless, right? I accomplished a lot, and then Techless turned on me, this friggin' pointy-eared scumbag, and took literally almost all of my settlements from the Defenders of the Great Plan. He got almost all of them, but the saving grace was at that time he became my literal only surviving enemy because I wiped out all the other enemies. So once you get on a roll, there's not much they can do against you. Not to say it wasn't easy.
Counterpoint to they can't do much against you. They absolutely fucking can because you have like 1 or 2 armies.
You only need 2, man. I only needed 2, and I conquered all the way up to Nagarot. Like, I don't know.
How did it? Okay, what was your like income like per turn?
Man, you do know about that right that increases your vassals' donations by like 50%.
30%, yeah, by 50, yeah.
50, yeah, yep. 50%, right?
For 3 turns or something like that.
Well, this is the thing. You reach a tipping point, I would say. I could probably support a half-assed third army, but my second army is no joke. It's as good as my first army. Like, I've made plenty of mistakes in almost all of our campaigns that we've ever played, where my second backup army gets like the garbage, and in this one, it's almost as good as Nakai's army. It's almost as good. He's got more. Oh my god, the lack of sleep and the drinks are getting to me. Regiments of renown. Nakai has got more regiments of renown, but the second army has some sacred spottings, and it also has Dread Saurian. Hold on, I've almost talked my way in long enough to get my exact income. Okay, so with that right. My total income is 9,528
per turn.
Per turn.
What the fuck? How many settlements do you have?
Damn good question. I've got a lot, man.
Yeah, you must, because that's some like crazy income.
The Defenders of the Great Plan have 70 settlements.
What? Oh my god.
Nagarond is in second place, I think, with 43.
And how many armies can they support?
Well, they're actually strength rank 1, but it doesn't mean shit. Because I'm starting to take settlements from them, and I could wipe them out if I kept going. That's my attitude.
Probably.
They've lost every battle they've come up against me pretty handily. But I think they're spread out.
Late game, like Dark Elves have some pretty shit compositions though. They're just like, here's a high Beastmaster with 20 Dread Spears.
Yeah,
like, really? You guys can get Black Guard? Like Hydras? And they're like, no, Dread Spears.
I've fought those armies. I'm not saying they don't exist, but you get through a couple of them, and then they start throwing you the high Beastmasters. Like you said, it's kind of funny how you described it. It's like to the letter exactly what they're throwing.
It's what they do. Yeah, like I'm not even being like sarcastic or like facetious. I'm just saying what they do.
I mean, every turn right now, I am taking 2 settlements off them. Both my armies are taking a settlement almost per turn at this point.
Yeah, that's true. That is one thing that Nakai is kind of good at, is that you can just clear a bunch of territory for yourself really quick if you want.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting when I was losing territory, which, because I'm not really getting invested in these settlements, they don't really build, they don't produce anything. You choose the god, which we will get into, that settlement is dedicated to.
Yeah.
And it has some sort of effect on the garrison, but really doesn't matter.
I don't think it affects the garrison. I think it just affects like your blessings.
Let me check really quick, because Let's
I'm
see.
90% sure the garrison is the same every time.
No. I think they're different.
Okay, I trust you.
Okay, so Quetzal, the green one, right?
Yep.
I'm just gonna. The very first units that you have in the garrison are Pterodon Riders, the Fire Leech Bolas, which I've never used, right?
Okay. Yep.
The red one, Itzel, the very first unit is Horned Ones.
Oh,
Yeah, so there are a different number.
that's such a big difference, though.
It is. It looks like the Itzel, the red one. I'm gonna go by color. That's the red ones look like they have Feral Carnosaur, Source Warriors, Croxagores, Razordorns, Usking Chief. What do the blue ones have? I can't even pronounce the blue ones. Zolanka.
Oh yeah.
They get some good ones too. Sacred Croxagore, Skink Priest, Source Warriors, Chameleon Skinks, Stilodons.
Oh okay. I must not have built too many of those because yeah, for the most part they all had Carnos in them.
I have kind of an even balance. Yeah, they're roughly equal.
Mm-hmm. I just went red.
Yeah,
right from the start.
I was gonna ask you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did enough red to get the. Okay, help me out here. Can you give me a break here and explain the different gods that you explain how the vassalization system works for you, please?
Okay. No, it's pretty simple. Like it's literally just dedicating it to a different old one. Kind of went over them all, but basically they all boost different things, and if you have a certain amount of settlements or like points toward them, capitals count as 1 or 3, sorry, and everything else counts as 1. So you can build it up towards like certain ones favor, which gives you different rewards. After I think it's 5, like every 5 points you get a different reward. So the first one's like weapon strength for Croxagores, blah blah blah.
These are permanent effects.
Yeah, they're constant. But you can work your way up to like spawning a. You get 3 charges of it, but like spawning a unit of Razordon somewhere. If you do the
Beast of
Zolanka, yeah. If you do Zolanka, you can get like this wind spell that's really good. By the way,
man, it's like tornadoes.
Yeah. It's like a bunch of like spinning.
And you get extra winds of magic.
Yes. Yeah. And then
minus costs on almost every lore of magic as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
5%. I think it's everything that the Lizardmen can bring essentially, so you can get it really cheap. And then the last one, I think you just get like bonuses to Saurus and stuff like that.
I don't know if there's any it's Skinks, Source, and Temple Guards, as well as the protection of Quetzal, which makes a unit invincible as long as it's not summonable. For like, it's like I don't know, I want to say like 15 seconds or something. It's not a lot, but it makes them invincible. Nothing can harm it.
Which is like already kind of a thing with the Lizardmen, because you got like Shield of the Old Ones, and like already super armored units, so which makes them even more invulnerable.
Yeah, it costs no winds of magic because it's just your army ability. I love casting that on a Dread Saurian, as it's like charging in, getting hammered by all the missile units, and it doesn't do shit. At least for a few seconds.
Yeah. The other interesting thing that you can kind of like stack with the Razordon summoning is when you build the exchange for this. Yeah, when you build the building for the recruitment of like salamanders and Razordons, you get an army ability to summon feral cold ones 3 times a battle, which is crazy huge.
So what Archer is talking about is the hunting pack pen. Other than I think I shot my main settlement, the Ziggurat, up to level 4. At least up to level 3, because once you hit level 3, you can recruit Croxagores.
Yeah.
And that's powerful. Cheaper. They're better.
Yeah.
And if you've been dedicating your temples to Itzel, the red tree, you'll get them even cheaper and stronger.
I got them for free for like most of my campaigns.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what stimulated that, but I think there were some events that got that to occur.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
pushed it low enough to where that I can make that happen.
yeah. You get it like crazy high.
But like you said, I just want to mention really quick, if you just build the giant beast pit, you're gonna want salamanders, at least maybe one or two. And I love Razordorns. Like, I just want to say, like, every once in a while we do a campaign and I fall in love with a unit that I haven't really played before, and the Razordorns were like my MVP, other than the obvious Croxy Wars. Razordorns will tear shit up if you get them in the right spot.
I mean, yeah, AP missiles. It's like
Yeah,
the only thing
they
the
shred
lizardmen
'em.
can do.
Yeah, I mean, I swear though, they're powerful.
Mhm.
Shred everything, especially when you can summon them
Yeah,
with
that's true.
Itzel. The beast of Itzel being able to drop just a Razordorn pack wherever you want is going to wipe out that unit, especially if it's artillery or it's a missile unit and you need to get rid of it. It's going to carve up that armor, and they're
Mhm.
going to be gone. They're not going to be a problem. But
The other thing I found like it was good for too is if you get like rat ogres or like something big into your front line and it's like pushing a little too hard, just summoning some razor dons like to the side so that they can just shoot at it is really good too.
yeah, from the flank, I liked personally. My favorite was dropping them behind Rattling Gunners.
Oh yeah.
The Rattling Gun, man, I hated them so much because
That's
they
what I
could.
did with the cold ones though. I was just like, all right, raptor pack, eat the eat the rattling
Yeah.
guns.
So real quick, so when you unlock the ability to get Salamander hunting packs and Razordorns, you get the Feral Cold One ability for your army, where you can spawn a unit of Cold Ones. I think it's like, I don't know exactly, at least 2 or 3 a battle.
It's
I don't
3.
know.
Yeah.
Three.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get a cooldown on it. But Feral Cold Ones are armor piercing. You know, they've got kind of compared to the other lizardmen, they've got little leadership. Like, they can break fairly easily.
Mhm.
But they're great. I mean,
They'll probably rampage before they break though.
no, they usually do. I've just seen them break on some occasions, but you're
Yeah.
right. They will rage most of the time,
Mhm.
and they are going to take out. God. Hey, I'm awake already. Uh, uh, they take out artillery pieces. They take out missile units, or at least keep them busy and do a lot of damage. If they don't outright kill them, they're gonna,
Yeah, at the very least they're shutting them down for a little bit.
yeah, and leaving them with a lot less units afterwards to
Yeah.
fight with.
Yeah, they do pretty well.
So there's a lot of abilities. I mean, between the Feral Cold Ones and the Razordorn Hunting Pack that you summon, that pretty changed a lot of fights for me. Like, there's one quest battle in particular. I think I'd have to look it up, but is it the defense of Itza where you're getting attacked by Luther Harkon and you have like 2 other allied armies that you gotta kind of protect?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a tough. That was an interesting. See, we had some good quest battles.
That's yeah, Nakai's got some decent ones for sure. The I found like the actual battle for Itza, like the one against Marcus Wolfhart, is pretty difficult to get out of really like unscathed, but that doesn't really matter at that point.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, that's the downside. Once you beat it,
Yeah.
you're done.
No, I think the battle for Itza, or not that one, but like the other one, the one with Luther Harkon is really fun. It's
Yeah,
really interesting.
it was really fun.
I just like that there was like several different places that I could kind of like dedicate troops to. Like for the most part, you're kind of stuck fighting this one force, but like I had some horned ones with me at that point that like went and took care of some rattling gunners some rattling gunners on the other side, and some stuff went after some mortars and whatnot.
See, that's the thing I don't get. Like, in quest battles, like, one of the big things about single player games is that you can make asymmetrical battles. Like, with multiplayer, it's always like, oh, these people, these two things got to be balanced. But it's like when you play a single player game, right? It's like you fight a boss character or in this case a quest battle, it's not supposed to be balanced. It's supposed to be tipped against you.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not supposed to be fair, because not every battle you fight in this game is going to be fair. It's not going to be easy. You could be outnumbered. Your units could be caught in force march and ambushed
You
by...
could have a ramp right in front of you.
You could have a ramp that angles up 75 degrees into the fucking sky for some reason.
Yeah. Welcome to episode 126 of Renowned Appearance, and they still haven't changed the ramp. It's still there.
Creative Assembly. Can you just do one thing for me?
Yeah. Malice's campaign is not good, but that did not make it any better.
I know. You need to Google image search ramps for me and find me. Please find me one ramp that looks like a Black Arc ramp that you created. I gotta know. I want to see it, and you know, maybe I'll back off from there. But goddamn, man,
who did this?
Who did it? Who did it? I hope they're not working.
I'm the lead ramp designer at CA. You're fired. Get out.
that comic panel where they just gets chucked out the window.
Yeah. Boo.
Where was I, Archer?
We were on faction effects, but that was some time ago.
That was some time. What other faction effects we got? We got the old one's favor, where you can, you know, as your, like we said, no raising settlements. Archer said we dedicate each settlement to one of the old ones. Itzel, Quetzal is X. That's the blue guy. The blue guy. That's what I'm gonna go with. You unlock certain abilities. You've got this icon in the top middle of the screen, Temples of the Old Ones, where as long as you've got at least one temple dedicated into tree, as long as you have the favor, you can get things like easy access to Sword Scar veterans, which is very helpful. Skink Chiefs, very helpful.
Skink Priest, not so much. You don't need multiples of them.
No, you don't. I mean, I would always go for Salan, honestly, like as my next lord. I liked having Salans as lords, and then I could just focus on the physical aspects.
Yeah.
You can get some blessed spawnings, which is helpful. Like you can get a card.
That's really good.
Yeah. Very, very good. One of the ones that comes in benefit later is the celestial benefits. Beneficients? Excuse me. Oh, God.
That was a big one.
Yeah, well, I am now officially at
25.
Yeah, I'm at 25 hours right now. And
counting.
Oh, yeah. Great plan demands it.
Yeah, great plan.
Celestial benefits gives you tribute from vassals plus 50%, which when you've got a lot of settlements adds up. Like I have enough old one favor to trigger that every time I need it. There's never a time that I can't trigger celestial beneficients. I also have one of the things that I think is bullshit is the jurisdiction of beasts, which gives you complete visibility over all your vassal territories, which, why don't you have that to begin with?
Come the fuck on.
I mean, you can still have it dependent on the public order, because I did have some areas rebel because of, too high corruption, and I had to help them deal with that. But come on, man. It's stupid. Just let me see what they see and not just their settlements. Because I was losing settlements and not even realizing it at a certain point.
Yeah, like, because you don't get the battle coming up, so you don't actually, see it happen if you're not watching.
I mean, it is kind of nice, man. I actually, the battles that I hate the most are defending settlements. I don't mind attacking, but I hate defending settlements most of the time.
I mean, yeah, you don't have to really do it on this campaign ever.
No, you have no settlements. It's easy.
I'm kind of sick of attacking them, though.
I started getting to the phase of auto-resolving, because I could replace units really easily. Money's not an issue. As long as I didn't...
You can replace Gold Chevron Blessed Croxagores really easy.
Yeah, fuck it, man.
All right, you did way better with this campaign than I did, apparently.
It doesn't matter. Like I said, I only got 2 armies. Look at me.
Yeah. I can hold Calidor. Look at me.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to think about it. Suck it, Archer. I couldn't hold Calidor. Now you get to deal with this.
Yeah, you're better at my favorite faction than me.
I'm telling you, it's because I play a lot of Horde factions. I think
so.
And I got a lucky roll. Roll. When we go into a little bit more of our what happened in our campaigns, I think maybe I can help you understand why maybe it went a certain way. Let's just put it that way.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just want to bring up one last one under the Quetzal Green Tree, the cheapest of the cheap. Like we had, the extra vassal tribute, the seeing the tributes your vassals territory. There's one called Glyphs of Defiance, which gives plus 15 leadership when under siege, which you're never going to be under siege, but I think that applies to the defenders.
Yes, it does.
Plus 5 siege hold all time, plus 10 melee defense when under siege. And I was triggering this quite often at a certain point because I just had the favor to spare. I could not tell for the life of me whether this was actually helping the defenders either do more damage or hang on just for an extra turn or so. I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't think it takes it into account with auto resolve. I think it's more something you kind of use when either they're obviously under siege or if
you have no settlements that you're defending. You're always on the outside.
Right, but it applies to them. So like if you pop that and get like extra 10 melee defense for their entire army, and then you go into the battle, they still have that melee defense, wouldn't they? I would think.
No, I mean that's why I'm thinking it has. I'm hoping it factors into the auto resolve because I assume auto resolve is just strictly mathematics in whatever setup they have.
Yeah. I don't know how it works, to be honest. Some people think it's like they count ammo first.
Yeah, no, ammo does count because I've done that. Legend of Total War, or what he's famous for is just exhausting the ammo of the enemy.
Yeah.
And I've done it against dwarf armies where I've exhausted their ammo with one unit, and as they ran out of ammo, it said they're on the verge of defeat. Or whatever, that message you got.
Victory is in our grasp.
Yeah, victory was in my grasp the second the quarrelers every quarreler ran out of ammo.
That's funny.
Yeah. That's true. It does factor into it. It has to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I know like ammo definitely does, but I think it like sees how much is on either side and like throws that against each other. I don't know. I've heard people like going back and forth on that, but anyway.
Yeah, no, nobody. Man.
Last faction effect that helps no one. Recruit rank +3 for Croxcore Ancients.
I didn't even recruit that many Croxcore.
Man, you shouldn't. They fucking suck. They're like Nakai, but not good. Like they're just worse.
They're the Boxagores, right?
Croxcore Ancients are like the lords.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I never recruited one ever.
Yeah.
I only had one extra army, and it had a Slan in it.
Yeah, like I think that's the thing about the Lizardmen is like they have 4 like decent, actually well thought out lord types, but no one runs anything except Slan and the occasional like Saurus veteran because Croxcore Ancients don't have a mount and are stupid slow and just can't put up the same numbers. And red crested skink chiefs fall into the same thing.
I mean, I have Nakai as the Croxagore representative.
Yeah.
And if I don't do that thing where I only bring one spellcaster unless it's a hybrid. So if it's strictly class based, if I have a spellcaster lord, I don't bring any spellcaster heroes because it's almost like I know my mind can only handle so many spells effectively, And it's like, what's the friggin' point? I've got a Slan. Why am I going to bring, a Heavens, skink into the mix? There's no reason. I'm not going to use almost all the spells, I guarantee.
Yeah, I have barely enough wins for my one caster already.
Yeah, I'm going to be spamming my favorite spells for the particular purpose that I got them for. So forget about it.
Yeah, the only thing that I'll like adamantly defend is Gelt bringing a life wizard. That's it.
Well, I think you mentioned to me that Gelt also can cast spells like no tomorrow.
Gelt can cast 30 spells with 30 wins.
That's pretty fucking crazy.
It's ridiculous.
I tried a campaign with him like yesterday into today, and it did not go well. The vampire counts are so friggin' aggressive. And next thing you know it, Grimgore Ironhide is knocking on my back. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah. No, I've tried playing like Karl Franz over my like days off, and fuck me, is it ever hard.
It's kind of cool though, because I know it used to be like...
Oh, it used to be a cakewalk. Yeah, it was like, take over your like Reichland, decide who you want to confederate, and see if there's anyone you can go to war with. Because I mean, there's not too many enemies, and now it's like, welcome to the oh my god, there's vampires right there.
Welcome to the Thunderdome.
They've taken Weisenland. Holy shit!
Averland's gone next, and
yeah,
Taberleckland. Fuck it. And you better be coughing up 2,000 gold every 5 turns if you want to save Nordland.
Yeah. Oh, your Imperial authorities -3 because every faction belonging to the Empire got destroyed. Bye.
Yeah. Good luck with that fucking public order.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Manfred has every settlement here.
Yeah, man. Where did that come from?
Yeah. Helmengorst is sitting in Altdorf, my dude.
It's his now. What are you gonna do about it? Nothing. That's what you can do.
I just want to bring up, like, before we move on, that I think it's really fucking dumb that Nakai's faction effects, quote unquote, I'm literally doing air quotes right now, are just, he's a horde. Like, that's literally like his description. Like, he literally gets +3 recruit rank for Kroxigor Ancients and his horde function. I'm like, I realize that, but everyone else in the game have, like, even other horde factions have the horde as their, like, that's their race thing, and then they have attributes for their faction on top of that. Whereas it's just like Nakai just doesn't have faction effects because his race is not a horde.
Even when you encamp, you get no other bonus than that you're immune to attrition. Which I get. I mean, maybe with the greenskins now, because they can use up 100% of their movement and still encamp. Whereas before, nobody really could. So I think Nakai would, at one point, was the only one who could use all of his movement and still encamp.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And him being more focused towards cleansing territory, like Untainted and stuff, and being able to not suffer attrition, as long as he wasn't in forced march. It's an effect of sorts, but it's not one that you think about like, oh, I love this legendary lord because they spread Untainted. Like, that's doesn't bring in the players, man.
Yeah, I have to agree. His lord effects just aren't that great either. Like, at all.
I mean, they kind of stack up though if you combine.
Yeah, like, yeah. If you didn't also have like the favor of the old ones that sort of like coincides with his lord effects, they would be really not great.
Yeah, I mean, I
but
think
that's just a bad point, like, for his campaign though. Just, you have to like take this with this to get what you wanted in the beginning. I'm like, well, but really?
Yeah, I mean, I saw some people like I was watching a certain Let's Play from way back when it first came out. So granted, there's a difference when you play DLC when it first comes out to when people kind of have an idea of what's, better.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you focused, like I did the red tree, just I think like the first 2 tiers where you got like extra weapon damage and then decreased recruitment cost, I think. And then I jumped to the blue tree to get extra 10 wins of magic. And then I kind of went back to the red tree for a while. I just, once I got those extra bonuses for the Croxigores, because by that point I could hire Croxigores. And then I figured, get an extra 10 wins of magic for my Skink Priest.
Mm-hmm.
Good combination there. I wasn't too worried about my Skinks and Sauruses. Because Saurus stand up to a friggin' beating, man. I went through a hell of a couple battles where I was fighting like 2 armies of Skaven at a time. And somehow I was beating them back with like 8 units. It was ridiculous.
If someone can, I'm sure there's probably people who have like literally like just thrown them up against everything, but I'm positive that Lizardmen have the best tier 2 infantry in the game.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure of it.
Dude, that's obvious.
Saurus warriors are ridiculous for what they cost.
Yeah, they beat any tier 2, I think.
Yeah, I think so. They hold. So like the only things that might, I think they actually lose to them, but like dwarf warriors are tier 1, I think, and they're pretty close. I think that'd be the closest thing.
If you're talking normal battle difficulty, I think the Saurus will win.
I think the Saurus will win, but I think the dwarves will like hold slightly longer.
Yeah, if they have like a hero or lord nearby. Yeah.
Unless you're playing as Marcus Wolfheart, and then every single Lizardman troop ever is unbreakable.
999 leadership.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
But he'll shatter at some point. Like, what?
I mean, I did feel like towards the end of my campaign, nobody ever broke in ramp. They all fought to the death, if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Lord effects.
No, I agree with you, man. He does have some lackluster effects. Like the feature is just he's a horde faction. Kind of cool. I like this campaign. It was a lot less stressful, believe it or not, because when you design each settlement and you have to balance the public order, what have you. In this, you take a city, you give it to your vassal, and you move the fuck on. There's no thinking about what you're going to build there. You're not weighing your budget. Your budget is who can I hire? What upkeep can I afford? And will I be able to afford the horde building upgrade when I need it?
Yeah.
That's it. No trading, minimal diplomacy. And this time, I liked it for this one campaign, at least right now, because I was like, this is great. If I lose a settlement, I don't even really feel attached about it. I'll just grab it back, rededicate it to the same god, and then move along. That's it.
Yeah. My thing, that you brought up diplomacy really quick there, the fact that defenders of the Great Plan and they're considered your vassal means that people can interact with them diplomatically differently than you. And for some things, it will like if you declare war on someone, obviously it brings like defenders into it. But if you make peace with someone, they might not make peace with defenders of the Great Plan. And so now you can't attack this army that's like slowly taking your settlements away. And you just have to watch it happen.
That's interesting because I actually I worried about that. I'm not saying I didn't see it happen prior to this campaign, but this campaign specifically, every time I accepted peace, like I saved it beforehand just to do that experiment. Every time I took peace terms this time, even if it was ridiculous, there was like one rogue army where I'd go into war with them. then I was like, they offered peace at like a time where I was like, oh, thank God, I don't have to fight in two directions again. The vassals would accept. The defenders of the great plan accepted every time. No peace, even if it was over and over again.
Man, I think you got some like really good luck, or I just got shafted. Maybe my game just hates me.
Well, other than Gorok declaring war on me on turn 5.
Oh yeah, Gorok. Okay, I have this written in my notes because I got so upset with it.
Yeah.
I started my first Vortex campaign, and I was like, okay, let's get into it. Like, let's do this. I'd already played my Moorland Empire, so I was like pretty, I thought, experienced with Nakai. And so I started going south and sort of like taking care of the Skaven, getting it, like occupying those ruins and stuff like that, slowly working my way down. And Gorok is just like, you know what? I fucking hate the Southern Sentinels. And while I'm at it, I hate Talaxla too. So I'm going to declare war on both of them. And I'm like, yeah, but Clan Pestilence is at your doorstep and about to take both of them out anyway. And he's like, no, I'll kill them myself. And I'm like, Gorok, please. Can we talk about this? And this motherfucker like just marches north to take Talaxland and watches Clan Pestilent just go through all the territory south of him. And then he eventually declared war after that. But I was just like, you little bitch. I cannot believe that.
Yeah.
And I was like defensive allies with Talaxland, so I got dragged into it too.
Damn. I mean, he eventually lost Itza. There was no more Gorok in both my campaigns.
Yeah, he's been a little prick. Some of my campaigns.
I know you get bad rolls. Like I hear a lot of people talking about sometimes like you want when you start a new campaign for one of like those close by minor factions to have like not the negative attribute towards you at first, just so you can have a couple extra turns where you don't have to worry about dealing with their shit.
Yeah, I think it's like because Gorok is aggressive. Like that's one of his traits. So he just doesn't want to not be at war with someone. So he's just like, fuck you. I'll like declare war to you. Like, really?
The Lizardmen, I have a problem with the Lizardmen declaring war with each other. I mean, any Dark Elf faction, it makes sense for any one of them to declare war on each other, right?
Right.
Yeah. The High Elves, I can sort of see it. Maybe not outright war, but definitely not like, I'm not allying with you. Or I can see that.
Altharion every campaign just being like, hey, Alariel, I fucking hate your guts.
Skaven declare war on each other like no tomorrow. Vampire counts. God, the Tomb Kings do. The Greenskins do. Almost every other faction except for the Lizardmen. Like, I feel like the Lizardmen, it should be so ridiculously improbable for them to declare war on each other. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
To be honest, I haven't seen them like actually declare war on each other very often, like at all, to be honest. I think this is the only exception where I saw Gorok being a dickhead. I did see though, because I like looked at Mazdamundi's campaign. One like little kind of note is that Mazdamundi's like so set on the great plan like coming to fruition that if like other Lizardmen aren't on board, he feels like it's totally necessary to wipe them out as well.
But all the other Lizardmen, Krokar, Tahenowin, Tic-Tac-Toe, Gorok, Nakai, they're all on board, aren't they?
I don't know. I mean, like, technically speaking, like, Tahenowin and Nakai shouldn't be around.
Well, the Tahenowin, actually, you're right, because he's kind of following the prophecy of Sotek.
Yeah. And, And like, Slans weren't a huge fan of him to begin with, but I don't know. I don't think they should declare war on each other, but, it's a game. It happens.
No, I do, but I told you, I get itchy with these weird diplomacy things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say it's like look at a map, but it's like,
why is Krazakrak military alliance with the Rictus clan nest?
I've seen that too. You mentioned that before, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no,
No,
that
stop.
doesn't happen. Dwarves never. I can see them getting a non-aggression pact with a certain Skaven clan, but anything more than that, no. It doesn't make any
I don't
sense.
even see that. Like they're way too up their ass about their grudges, and Skaven have taken way too much from them for them to be like, yeah, non-aggression pact, we'll trust you.
You know what? That's a damn good point. So I mean, I've seen mods where they actually do this, where it's like dark elves can never have anything but war with high elves and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like there's no in between, and I there's something I really like about that idea, but maybe I also get what Creative Assembly is going for with a more free-form campaign where you never really know who's going to hate you and who's going to like you in some campaigns, and how
Yeah.
that's going to affect your plans. So
Yeah.
what can you do?
Yeah. Before we leave it for good, I just want to like briefly talk about Nakai's additional starting units.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because he gets Sacred Croxicores and he gets a unit of Croxicores. But in Mortal Empires, he doesn't get like a bonus third unit, which everyone else does.
He does or he doesn't in Mortal Empires?
He does not. He only gets 2. Plus,
Yeah,
I think he starts with like some Saurus and a skink cohort with javelins. But that's it.
it is a rough start. It's a very rough start.
Yeah. I mean, like Mazdamundi gets a Bastiladon and Temple Guard and a Croxigore unit.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Croxigore has like, I think he just has a shit ton of Saurus right off the bat.
Oh, it only says 2 though: Croxigores and Feral Stegonons. I don't know.
Oh yeah, he gets a Feral Stegodon. Yeah.
Surprisingly, almost every other faction, like aside from Lizardmen, get like 3 unique starting units.
Yeah. I'm not asking for like anything huge, like just some Razor Dawns would be cool. Or
definitely, because they introduced Razor Dawns with Nakai. That was a brand new thing.
Yeah. Even if you started him with like fuck's sake, some skinks with cudgels, I'd be fine with that. Just like an extra unit.
You get the skinks with javelins in the Vortex campaign at least, and I think in the if you can call that a special unit.
I cannot.
So as we discussed, the 2 starting units get the regular Croxigars.
Croxigars.
Croxigars. And the Croxigars. That's what you Canucks sound like.
It is not.
I know it's not.
Yeah.
Sacred Croxigors. You know, I never made it a point. I think we literally, because I'm so exhausted, but we just mentioned that I didn't really focus on getting Sacred Croxigors. Like, yeah, I got some Croxigors. Yes, I got like the Regiment of Renown Sacred Croxigore on top of the one I started with. But they have badass animations, knocking rocks into enemies, basically performing earth magic, geomancy, doing crazy shit.
But with their fists.
With their fists.
But it's all delivered with the power of their fucking bicep.
That's how Mike Tyson solved all of his problems. Fists.
Do you think Mike Tyson would lose in a fight to a Sacred Croxigore?
There wouldn't be anything left.
I think he's fast enough. I think Mike Tyson could avoid a Sacred Croxigore.
Not now. I mean, maybe.
Man, he's training to fight.
Dude, I mean, you're right. He probably wouldn't even be shaken by some giant, like, alligator thing speaking some sort of language at him. Yeah. I can't do a Mike Tyson impression. I haven't heard him speak enough times.
It's also, I think it's kind of offensive.
I don't know, man.
I'm gonna
I saw
steer
him in
clear
that
of it.
I saw him in that Adult Swim cartoon. Where what the hell is he? Is he like a
Another
pigeon?
mystery.
Yeah, we got the mystery. uh,
Yeah,
kills me.
that's a good show. Yeah.
You did
Sorry, that was my tangent.
it. It works. It works.
It's fine. It's fine.
I mean, that covers basically everything, which there isn't a whole lot. It's kind of
His Lord effects are +5 melee defense for Croc score units and -10 recruitment cost for Croc score units.
a lot out of this to get there. Yeah.
Well, it's just like it's so shitty. Like, man, do you have the game pulled up?
I kind of backed out of my campaign, but I can load it back in.
Okay. Can you look at like Crocgar's Lord effects for me?
Oh, Crocars.
Yeah, just for comparison.
Well, by loading it up, I meant loading my campaign up. So I'd have
Oh,
to,
I see. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what Crocars effects. I know they're bonuses towards Source Warriors, which is an upkeep bonuses and shit that.
He's got upkeep bonuses. He's got bonuses for upkeep for like every large unit. So like every Stegodon, like the Carnosaurus, stuff like that. Like all the big dinos, you get like minus upkeep on.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the most expensive units.
I mean, yeah, but it's like a big, like 10%, and that's like all armies. Whereas Nakai does recruitment cost, which is not the same as upkeep, and he does 10%. So he gets a one-time use on a unit to be 10% cheaper. And Krokgar gets 10% upkeep on like several $100 units.
Yeah, recruitment discounts don't really mean shit to me because it's all about the upkeep bonus, especially with a horde.
Well, yeah, and that like is the other thing is it's just his army. It's not a global effect. It's not a faction wide thing. It's not like every army gets a recruitment cost bonus.
No,
it's literally just his army and 10%. The guy should be like spamming sacred coxagors because they're just fucking easy to get. If you want my opinion,
should, but I never. I don't know. Seem. Why didn't you? Did you?
Oh no, I'm just saying like he should have the bonuses so that he can do that. Like AI Nakai can just like, yo, what up? I got 100 Croxagors with me.
I'm sure he will someday.
That'd be dope. But yeah, Nakai doesn't have that much to talk about between his faction and lord effects and everything about him. It's just he's there. It was more just me getting mad at it than anything.
No, I mean, I just want to really just swing by it again. It was a good change, especially from the dwarves. That was a very stressful campaign. Bit touch and go. With this one, you just got to win battles. You just got to make sure you don't lose. If you don't lose, you don't got to worry about constructing settlements. You know what? You lose a settlement, don't worry about it. You'll get another settlement.
You know what the other shitty thing was too? I just remembered this. The amount of rogue armies that spawn in Lustria when you're playing there is ridiculous. I mean, I don't even know how many Beastman stacks I fought.
Wow.
Like I had so many Cygors go down to just like Croxagors like punching it in the knee. Just beating his calf.
I fought more Wood Elf rogue armies. Not to say I didn't fight my fair share of beasts.
Yeah, I got a few of those too.
Yeah.
They were fucking annoying. They're just like, I'll just sit back and shoot you and run away. I'm like, no, I'm slow.
Now you have to like surround them before you even close in, just to make sure they don't slip out.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I really liked is, you just don't have to. It's more relaxing. You're focusing on the next battle, not building and extending your empire, as you're kind of like a servant of that. Cool. Yeah. where do I go from here, Archer? Help me out.
You want to start with the campaigns? Because I think we're pretty much through everything leading up to that.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to start with the Mortal Empires campaign? Because I feel like I have less to say about that. Although, I don't know. It's up to you.
Yeah, sure. I actually enjoyed Mortal Empires more just because it's a weird sort of situation for the lizardmen to be in. Like, there's really only Lustria for 3 out of the 6, Lustria Light for Krokgar and Mortal Empires and Vortex, and the Southlands for Tic-Tac-Toe. And that's essentially what you got, other than Nakai's start in Albion and Mortal Empires. So it's a really cool sort of. You don't see lizardmen up there. You don't tend to fight them. Those factions aren't really geared towards each other, if that makes sense. Like, you really don't. You just don't see it. Like, how often do you, as Coral fans, be like, oh, there's Mazdamundi.
The damn skinks. The only good skink is the dead skink.
So yeah, I thought it was really fun. The Lizardmen versus Norska sucks if Norska is more powerful. Skinwolves will beat the absolute shit out of your Kroxagors. Mammoths kill everything, like just everything. And
you gotta have riflemen aiming at those guys.
Yeah, and you're like the way that Norska is set up to like actually take care of anything up there, because you have to be at war with all the tribes, because let's face it, it's all going to end up under Wolfric banner anyway. It's not set up in a way that you can kind of like take a settlement and like defend it, which you're not really meant to, but at the same time, you know, that's your upkeep. So there's a lot of like forward and back, like it's very 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing. Like you don't really make that much progress because you're having to go back, because there's either like your settlements are having a revolt and there's like a big chaos army like setting siege to your settlements, or like Norska has sent an army the wrong way around and is now like attacking behind you. So yeah, it was very tedious. It was really fun because you just like are constantly playing battles, sometimes 2 or 3 a turn. But it gets I got worn down really quick. I was just like, oh my god, I'm so like tired of the endless hordes of marauders. I don't know how you felt in the beginning, but after Albion, it's like just a slog of Norska to get through.
No, it definitely is. That was kind of one of the reasons why I wasn't a huge fan of the Mortal Empires.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting in that, like, I've always said I wanted to do like a Norska campaign that lets me start out in Lustria, kind of get it from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't make an unlucky mistake, like within the first 5 turns, you're probably going to survive whatever problems occurred in that river that day. And I don't think anybody that I've helped out is going to forget. And even if they did, I wouldn't even be bothered. I just don't care. Like, I'm being asked to build a room with my mind, essentially. And it's like, well, I'm going to do that. That's the way it is.
Yeah. Also, like 200 turns into a Mortal Empires is a weird place. Like, it's just fucking weird because everyone, like, it's basically down to like the top 10 powers at that point. And I just felt so out of place because between the Empire and Krasakrak and Negorond and Cult of Pleasure, they basically had the entire map. I wasn't sure what was going on in the Southlands because I never went down there, but everywhere north of the desert and then into actually the weirdest thing was that Krasakrak, when I like actually made it down there, was like invading Lustria. You ever seen the dwarves sitting in Fallen Gates and just being like, yo, what up?
Are you there?
Yeah.
Dude, my wife had to wake me up. I passed out at the computer.
I thought so. I was like, holy shit, he fell asleep. I was like,
Oh my god, man! I'm so
I was
sorry.
talking for like 3 minutes, and then I stopped, and I was like, yeah, you know,
Dude, that has.
no response, and I was like, hello.
I'm sorry, man.
No, yeah, I figured it out. I was like, I was like, this motherfucker just fell asleep on me.
I can't remember the last time that happened. Anybody who's listening, that's the level of dedication you get from Renowned and Feared.
We're gonna upload this like just as the silence.
It's just this.
This is Pac sleeping.
Oh my god! I'm so sorry.
It's all good. It was funny because I my girlfriend's just in the other room, and I went in to like be like, holy shit, I think he fell asleep, and she's like passed out. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh my god! I think he's still here. Yeah, he's recording still. Okay.
Yeah, Craig's here. Yeah. No, he just does that little message.
Oh, catch me up, man. Where did we leave off? Just give me
So
something.
we started talking about campaigns. You said something about your mind being a box.
My mind being a box.
Yeah.
Holy-
And then
Oh my god!
you made this point, and I was like, huh, I don't know what that was.
Were you passing out?
It was pretty incoherent. I was like, are you doing okay? Like that was wow. It's just like, all right, you talk for a while. I'm like, yeah, sure, buddy. And it's just like, oh, okay, he fell asleep.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay, campaign. Did you talk about your campaign for a minute?
Yep. Yeah, I did.
Okay. So I'm just gonna say really straightforward. The Vortex campaign. Look, all you have to do, in my opinion, you gotta go cheap and get
Okay.
some source warriors. Don't get skinks because you don't need them.
Yeah.
They're not gonna last long.
Yeah, you're never gonna have the replenishment. Like they'll take too many losses. You can't replenish.
Yeah, I mean it's good to keep that first initial skink unit you come with because they have some range, and you ain't ever gonna catch up to those Escape and Slave like slingers, and night runners.
Yeah, like night runners and gutter runners are all way faster anyway.
Dude, and it's a bitch. You got to break the rest of the army and really break them good in order to get them to flee the battlefield.
Yeah, I don't think the javelins are super useful against Skaven. They're chaser units, or like they flank.
I didn't invest in the building until I had nothing else to spend my growth on.
Yeah, I actually did it sort of third, if that makes sense. Like you have the original Ziggurat. There's you get the Saurus building right off the bat, like the first one anyway. Mm-hmm. And then I went for the upkeep 15% building.
Yes, I did too.
Yeah, and then I actually went for skinks after that because I think skink chiefs are really good, and it's also a way to get a Stegadon for fairly cheap at a good unit. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's a good choice. I didn't go with it this time just because I had my Croxicors who could break down gates for me. So I usually went to ambush stance in the beginning just to lure enemies out of their settlements.
Yeah.
And a big tip I would have is to try, once you take a settlement, I don't know for a fact, but I think once you convert a settlement to the defenders of the Great Plan, I think their garrison spawns pretty quickly.
As soon as you do it, yep.
Yeah, so if you camp out next to your settlement, it is highly unlikely that an enemy is going to attack you. It almost never happened for me.
Yeah.
As long as I was camping out next to a settlement.
Yeah, and I found just because I ended up giving so many to the Itzel, the red one, that all the garrisons were getting Temple Guard and Carnosaurs. And the way that the AI works, they just charge it at the army that's coming. And since that's not really your unit anyway, you can just let them take as much as they can out of the enemy and then just clean up with whatever you've got and take like no losses.
Oh yeah, that's the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And also it favors you in auto resolve. Skaven slaves don't amount for much in auto resolve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and auto resolve does like Lizardmen. I will say that much.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I was able to auto resolve quite a bit towards like the end of my campaign because I was just picking fights I knew I could win. Especially when you have two armies, you can have one ambush and one kind of lure one away, and then you attack the settlement behind it. You know.
Yeah, that was one thing too that Nakai kind of has a bonus with over other Lizardmen is I think his ambush success chance is quite a bit higher, and also he can get it higher.
Yes, he can.
Yeah, because for most Lizardmen playthroughs I do, he doesn't, or like I don't have much ambushing going on.
No, and I honestly didn't. I don't think I leveled him up that way. It's just I think he does, like you said, start out with a little bit more than usual.
Yeah, it's naturally higher.
And I was focusing more on, like with any horde faction, the keys are growth and upkeep reduction. You have to make them cheap because your vassals do not provide a lot. Like
I literally have numbers because I was riled up about this.
Really? Okay.
Are you ready?
Well, yeah.
So Nakai himself, through his traits and everything like that, can get minus 23% upkeep just from like his personal skills.
Okay.
You can also get the 15 that we talked about with that one building. That's 15% for everything in the army. And then there's a technology, which by the way is different than the Lizardmen normal tech tree. Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, let's remember when we talked about how we'd like to see the tech tree modified for the Lizardmen. This is definitely very specific towards Nakai.
Yes.
And really, if you don't, I maxed out almost the entire bottom tree, the sequence of growth.
It's a blue campaign, yep.
Yeah, it doesn't give you that color, but you have to go for it. Casualty replenishment rate. Yeah, that's the thing. Upkeep, horde growth, and casualty replenishment are all necessary to, a surviving horde.
Yeah. I didn't do it on Nakai. I saved it on him and used the like skink chiefs because they have the replenish troops perk to get like an extra 15%. Plus the Lizardmen like don't really suffer from casual replenishment, right? They're like really good at it.
They are, but my first campaign that I ended up losing, I got bogged down fighting multiple armies of Skaven. And, even if you win a battle, almost all of them survive. And it's disgusting how many survive. And even with your casualty replenishment rate being decent, it's not enough to keep up with multiple armies of Skaven replenishment.
Yeah. Yeah, so in total, Nakai has, let's see, 42% upkeep on his army. And I don't know about you, but like a 20 stack of like Saurus Warriors and Croxagors with I had like some heroes and a Blessed Stegodon in it. Was like pushing $3,000 still a turn.
Yeah, it's expensive. I've got, Nakai, I've got a Sorscar veteran, I've got a Skink Priest, and I have Lord Croak all in the same army.
Fuck yeah. Oh, how'd you like the Croak battle, by the way? Because you didn't get to that one last time.
No, I didn't. I actually quite enjoyed it.
It's fun, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a rush. It's very straightforward. I was expecting some flanking maneuvers, but they never quite achieved it because it is kind of essentially one direction they can attack from. Get some fountains they can sort of run around, but they never quite do.
Yeah. I found if you've played it like very defensively, they'll definitely like swing around on the sides.
Oh, okay.
With Night Runners and stuff like that. But if you're aggressive and like push towards them, they'll just come straight down the middle into like a big box that you just throw Wind Blast in.
Yeah. I think I was steadily push, because I kept thinking, I'm like, that's got to be the last wave. Nope, it's
Mhm.
not. And I kept pushing forward.
Yeah. Hmm.
I got the Shredder of Lustria in that army.
Oh
Finally.
fuck yeah, Shredder's awesome.
Oh my
Same
god.
with
It looks
that
like a
that one, and the Thunderous one is probably like two of my favorite RRRs.
Thunderous one.
It's like an ancient Stegadon or a Stegadon regiment. It's like a big electric Stegadon. It's fucking awesome.
Really?
Yeah, it's sweet.
I think I had that in that army. My back.
I think he's like big and pinkish, like salmon color.
That maybe I lost him in one of my quest battles. It's been a
Oh,
little while.
okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I can't see it.
But yeah, Nakai has almost 50% upkeep loss from his army, and you still, just based on like how much money you actually make like per settlement, you need like almost 20 to upkeep a 20 stack with all
Yeah,
of those
you do.
bonuses.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
And that is with the Renowned and Feared trait, because that's
Oh, yeah.
8%.
He does have Renowned and Feared. Does any of his quest items? No, none of them provide any upkeep bonuses.
Yeah, that was the other thing too, is Nakai's items kind of suck. His one
Yeah.
literally gives him perfect vigor.
I like that though. It gives everybody within 30 meters perfect vigor as well.
Yeah, but how many like legendary lords can just take that as a trait, or like it's a side note where they're just like, oh yeah, perfect vigor.
I know, but if you keep them in the mix with a bunch of Croxigors,
Sure.
they
Yeah.
keep tearing it up.
Yeah.
That was the
I'm trying
one
to-
thing, like usually with in armies where I have like those heavy hitting units, I try to outflank. But in this one, I kind of had like, my source warriors go in, lock them down, fight for a little while, almost to the point of like 50% losses or greater, and then my Croxigors would come storming in after the enemy is like good and tired. And I mean, granted, with perfect vigor, it probably wouldn't have been an issue, but they get a little spread out sometimes and start chasing people.
Mhm. Yeah, I kind of played it as like a rush faction. Does that make sense? Like I
No,
just
it
like
does. You don't have a.
yeah, you're not relying on, well, you don't really rely on missiles period with Lizardmen, but for the most part, like my source line was going down, the Croxigors were in there, and then as soon as the battle started, they just like fucking booked it at whoever I was fighting.
Croxigors can catch up to some units.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they were like the only thing where I'm like, okay, I need something to catch this.
Yeah, they're pretty quick. Quicker than you think. Sources
Yeah.
are only like 34 speed, and regular Croxigors are 50.
Yeah, they're a slow faction for that to be like one of your fastest units.
But hey, it's enough. They can chase down some units.
Yeah, enough so that they can get like archers and stuff like that. So that's good.
How did you feel about in the Vortex campaign that the Huntsman's marshals start with a couple?
Start as the number one power with 10 settlements.
Yeah, they didn't actually do so hot my second playthrough, but how are they for you?
They seem to actually do better in the Mortal Empires for whatever reason. Like they never get wiped out, but they'll always have 2 or 3 settlements. Seems weird. Because yeah, in mine I think they just got a little too big, and everyone saw them as like a great power. So like Luther Harkin was like, nah, fuck this, and almost everyone like Mazdamundi declared war on them like really early because they're like kind of up in his business right off the bat. So yeah, it was I didn't really focus on them. It was more like beating back Clan Pestilence and stopping them from taking a lot of territory from other lizardmen. So it was kind of cool because I got to get that like feeling of being like this rogue army sort of thing that just goes around and protects other lizardmen, which is what I think they were going for with that campaign. And so that was really fun. I actually didn't really consider the Huntsmarshal much of a threat because I just immediately went south because you kind of have to go that way anyway. And so I just got caught up with other things, I guess, basically.
I couldn't even complete like you actually have the targets of the heroes of the Huntsmarshals. You know, like was it Le Ungle? He's one of the targets.
Oh, Roderick, yeah.
Yeah, Roderick Le Ungle. The first one you kind of come up to is that dwarf engineer who's kind of on your way south, because that's kind of the direction the game points you in, I feel like.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, I just like gunned it south down the mountains and just ended up there.
And that's definitely an army you can beat. If they choose to fight you in the open field, you can just rush them and kind of chase down. You know, their gunners are going to do some damage to you. But
Great cannons suck on Croxagores. Don't let them shoot at them.
Yeah, but that's where my skinks came in handy. I literally had my skinks lead the way, my one unit of them, and they just took all the casualties, or enough of them to close the distance, I guess, with my units that would actually do some damage.
I lost a skink priest to that battle, actually. I got way too carried away with my wind blast, because I don't even know how many times I was casting that. And yeah, one of the, I think it was the war wagon eventually caught him. Because he was still like on foot.
I believe that those war wagons, they do damage if you leave them alive too long and they focus fire, you know?
Yeah, they're such shit units, but I found them so annoying because nothing could catch them. And yeah, it was just like consistent AP against my Croxagores or Nakai or anything bigger I might have had. Yeah, they were annoying.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, I think we mentioned that when we first played as them, is they were useful in certain situations, especially when you didn't have any other unit that provided that mobility. But I definitely saw them, like, that's how I would use them. Like, when I saw, like, a Scar veteran, I would be like, just keep plugging away at him. If anybody runs close, you know, kind of duck away. And, you know, come back. And it adds up. The damage adds up, you know?
Yeah, I think it'd actually be, like, kind of usable as Marcus if you didn't get... I mean, essentially, like, free cavalry within the first 10 turns. Like, you can get Empire Knights like that. Or you get, like, Pistoliers super quick. So, yeah.
And also with, like, the hostility meter that made them incredibly unbreakable leadership. And
yeah, exactly.
Bonuses.
Yeah, that made it worse.
So it's nice not having that against us, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like... Yeah, I think Marcus's campaign, like upon revisiting it, is definitely better and more playable. But Nakai is interesting. I don't know.
He's like the Altharion of the Grom, the Grom and the Warden, or the Punch and the, you know what I mean?
Because he's the worst one to come out of those three.
Yeah. I mean, but like I was saying, I hinted at this earlier. Nakai is actually the most fleshed out horde faction, in the sense that I feel like even though the vassals don't provide you with a lot of money, if you keep winning and you get money from battles, and even if you're losing cities, as long as you're gaining new territory, you are getting somewhere. I definitely got to the point, like I remember when I could finally afford a second army, you know, and it was a big deal. Because just having that backup army meant I could take walled cities that maybe had an occupying force in there. It just made it 1,000 times easier. And I don't feel like you get that with the Beastmen of the Chaos, because like every time you raise a settlement, somebody comes in behind you and occupies those damn ruins, and they level it. The growth that the AI gets is stupid. You know, they have no economy; they just get free money. Whereas at least the defenders do something, because the AI will usually besiege them if it's a main settlement for a couple turns.
Yeah, I'm glad they have decent garrisons. I only wish that they sort of like slowly built up over time,
you know,
and dedicating them to a certain old one would kind of, you know, direct the language, the direction that they're actually like going in. Like if you choose like Eitzel, you get a bunch of they start recruiting like more military, they've got like more defenses sort of thing. And if you did like magic, there's like magic. I'm not asking for like giant settlements or like anything like that, just like something so that you get rewarded for keeping settlements safe. Because right now there's like zero reason to really go back for anything. Like it's just like take things as you go through it, and there's no real need to defend things that are a couple turns behind you because you can just go forward. Why go back?
I mean, one ability that I think is kind of understated, but also kind of good, is if you come across ruined settlements, you can investigate it for treasure, and on that same turn that you've gotten the treasure, you can colonize it.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, and you don't. It's not like when you play as other factions, you don't lose any units. The defenders just take it over.
Yeah, you just get the money. That's true. Yeah, that's a good one. Especially because the game gives you like 10 ruins to just be like, all right, go ahead.
Yeah, so you can expand fairly quickly. Like, there's no penalty because you're not worried about building. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to factor in the cost of buildings at all.
Yeah.
And, I found the campaign, once I got off to a solid start and I was on my way, it was much less stressful because, especially with the fast turn timers, like if I was, well, with Vortex, it was never really an issue, but Mortal Empires definitely. Like trying to play Nakai on Mortal Empires when the old turn time used to be like, God, what was it? Like 5 minutes?
Years.
Yeah, years. It might as well have been years. I mean, sometimes you're just moving and camping and next turn until you get to the next battle, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah. I did find like once I was at like a 10 or 12 stack that I felt much more comfortable. Whereas the first little bit, especially, I found Vortex to be very unpredictable. Like a lot can just kind of like blow up in your face without you doing anything about it.
Yeah. I had Tehenwen basically collapse in the first several turns against the Citadel of Dusk, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they were the ones who actually wiped me out in a battle. But I also had, Gorok declare war against me, get immediately wiped out by Clan Pestilence because I don't know why he was focusing on fucking me. But
I restarted the Vortex so many times trying to get like not a loss. I've written down everything that went wrong in the early stages of my campaigns. Are you ready?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Okay. Gorok can get aggressive and declare war on you. Gorok can declare war on other lizard factions and take them out. Gorok cannot declare war on Clan Pestilence and sit and eats it by himself.
Chilling.
Clan Pestilence can literally clean up everyone in Lustria, and they will do it sometimes. There's a few times where I hadn't even like met the Southern Sentinels or something, or like was just about to meet the like Spine of Sotek dwarves, and Clan Pestilence had already declared war on me. The dwarves can either declare war on you or be okay. That one wasn't a big thing, but the one time they were just like, "Hey, fuck you," and I had to deal with it. The Blue Vipers will declare war on you at some point.
Yes.
But probably pretty close. So once you're south, like with a few settlements and in a different war, they'll be like, hey, what up? We're taking the settlements you had in the beginning. Yeah, and then there's a few more like minor ones where I'm like, okay, yeah, that can happen. But yeah, those were mostly just Gorok being a dickhead.
Yeah, I don't know why he's pre-programmed to be like that.
Yeah, it's weird.
God damn it, Gorok.
Yeah.
Just screwing up the the harmony of this band.
Mm-hmm. Gorok's the bad boy. You can tell because he's the white one.
He's the white one? I don't even know what that means. Real quick, because I was just looking at my map. So, do you want to talk about the rights really quick?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he does have some different ones.
So you get the Right of Rebirth, which costs 500 favor. It creates a non-replenishing army of blessed units that spawn at the capital of the defenders. Which
did you ever do this?
You can actually stack this.
Yep.
I didn't know that at first, but this is an ability that can stack, so you can create multiple armies. I never got more than 2 because they usually suicide themselves into something.
Yep. Basically.
So maybe they helped. I really don't know what the hell they were doing.
Do you think they're better or worse than Vortex intervention armies?
Worse.
Worse?
Yeah, because I had some like hover, like doing nothing. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Like they didn't seem to be going anywhere. I had one sit in one city just for I don't know how many turns. I mean, I didn't issue them any orders, but I was just creating them just to see what the AI would do.
hmm
And they had one full 20 stack that just sat around, I swear to God, for like 20 turns doing jack shit.
So you like really have to direct them then, hey?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of let them to it because it seemed like every once in a while they'd kind of start reacting to something, but one army just sat there for a while. What was your experience with them?
Oh, that basically that they were like a bloated corpse of an army.
So
They just ran in and blew themselves up, and that was it.
So was that better or worse than the intervention armies?
I would say better because at least they did some fucking damage. Intervention armies are just like, I'm gonna sit here and take attrition.
Yeah, that's true.
And die.
That's a fair point. I did have that one army that just immediately started taking attrition and just decided it couldn't take the walled settlement, so they just started starving to death in the winter.
Yeah, exactly. There's just a bunch of lizardmen and like the chaos weights being like, man, fuck this.
Great design there. Then we also have the right of allegiance, which all regions belonging to the defenders of the Great Plan will cause attrition to their enemies.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. It's one of the rights of Sotek, I think, basically.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, I'd cast it every once in a while, especially when my territory started expanding.
Yeah, I like that perk as a lizardman. Just being like, okay, you take attrition now.
Second. One right that I used once was the right of mastery, which
is that the Croxigar one?
Yeah, it's all Croxigors.
Yeah, just a bunch of buffs.
Yeah, I never recruited Croxigor Ancients, and I don't really feel like I need to get out of bed for just a +1 recruit rank for Croxigor.
No, yeah. I very rarely go for those like rights or like things you can do to just like temporarily make things slightly better when you're recruiting. I'm like, I'm not gonna issue a different commandment. I'm not gonna remember to do that.
No.
To save like 10%, really?
Yeah, that's not enough. I've seen some events where I think in the Beastmen it happens actually, where you get an event where your recruit cost goes up by like 100%, but they actually get hired at like Silver Chevron, which is
okay.
It will be like 3 silver chevrons, which is actually decent for the.
Yeah, it's kind of you're basically like they're gonna hit gold pretty close or pretty quick after that. So yeah.
Especially for Beastmen, where their leadership is garbage. Granted,
yeah, but that makes a difference.
Yeah, it does make a huge difference because some of the Beastmen units are actually good, provided they stay and fight. So,
Chaos Spawn.
Yeah, well, Chaos Spawn will fight to the end.
That's the joke.
I'm slow to the party.
What's that? Sorry. Yeah.
Slow to the party. This right of mastery also gives you plus 15% for Croxigor and Sacred Croxigor weapon strength and plus 20 armor. So that's good, but that seems like an ability that I take when I'm like truly desperate, and usually I don't have 3. That actually costs gold and not favor.
Yep. Yeah.
You don't have.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, if I'm ever so desperate that I'm like, oh fuck, I just need like my Croxigors to like really pull this battle out. I don't have $3,000 because I would have used that for like something else to make sure I wasn't in that position.
Just to even have some more source units, because source, perform so well.
Yeah, that's a decent army of Saurus at that point.
And then you get the Rite of Awakening, which a Slan Mage Priest becomes available, which
pretty typical. I will say though that the favor of the old ones works well with this because you can get a recruit rank. I think it's +5 for Slan.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, definitely worth it for sure.
Mid-maxing motherfucker.
Slan are just so good.
They
It's
are
just-
good. They're great.
How do you beat like ridiculous amounts of magic and cheap spells and then just like free banished? Like I'm not going to say no to that.
No.
Especially Mazdamundi when he just gets like a giant ass Stagon too. I'm like, there you go. Sure.
Mazda Monday, so I plan on it eventually.
Mazdamundi gets a big ass Stagon that he rides and it's awesome.
It's bad.
It's a giant toad on a Triceratops.
He starts so close to the Dark Elves that I am curious to play as. So
Yeah, it's a bit different. I don't know. I've only played as Vortex.
well, yeah, that's even what I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
You get Sai Lostra, some of the Norskins, and Marathi, doing her thing.
And then you also have the New World colonies as well, like that shitty Empire colony.
Those guys always seem very friendly.
Yeah, they are kind of friendly, but I just don't want them there. I'm like, ugh,
I'd rather
they're
just
being nice to me, but
Yeah.
I want your settlement.
Yeah, when I was Nakai and got up there, they were actually in like a defensive alliance with Hexawaddle. So I was just like,
Oh, really?
yeah, I was like, I think they did that too when I was actually the Huntsmarshals, something. And I was like, oh,
You traitorous jerks!
I know.
I'm here to support you, and you make a defensive alliance with the worst of them.
Somehow you find a way to live in harmony. Bullshit.
Yeah, ridiculous.
I guess it is good that Nakai provides a lot of Untainted, because I'm kind of like scrolling around the map and seeing a lot of the chaos that's been beaten back from like the wastes of the Dark Elves territory.
Mhm. Yeah, like I mean, you got like vampire corruption from. It depends on how well Luther does, but you got that potentially. There's Skaven corruption. There's going to be chaos corruption quite a bit. So yeah, there's quite a bit to kind of go against. It's one of the campaigns where I was like, "Yep, give me that, please, thank you."
More Untainted. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, free banner, cool. Give that to this person. But yeah, Mortal Empires is completely different from Vortex, at least in my experience. As I was saying before, I was unheard. The initial like conquest, I guess, of Albion's like pretty easy because it's just like 3 fairly simple battles. It kind of like shit hits the fan after that though.
Yeah, getting off that island is a little treacherous, man.
Because yeah, I mean, like you have to like sail at some point.
And it
You're
takes
probably
more than
gonna-
one turn, even if you quick march out of there.
Yeah, and you're probably gonna take attrition depending because there's always like storms or ice or whatever the fuck. And even if you land, there's like chaos, corruption. There's like the snow attrition. Actually, in his tech tree, you can become immune to both chaos and snow attrition.
Yeah, I saw that. Eventually, I unlocked it. I unlocked the whole tech tree, but yeah, that's pretty nice.
In Mortal Empires, if you go straight for the no snow attrition, it's a huge. It's a big thing for sure. Like it helps quite a bit.
Absolutely. Not using losing units just for existing,
Yeah, or just like having to worry about like losing a battle because you're constantly damaged and
not getting any replenishment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's basically it. And Norska's really kind of hard to take over, if that makes sense, with one army, anyways, or like even 2. I'm sure it would be like not super easy because it was hard with.
You can do
1
it
and a
with
half.
one army. You just got to pick your targets carefully.
Yeah, and like at some point you're still gonna have to backtrack because like Norska has like 3 lines of settlements essentially,
I know.
and you can't always access all of them. So sometimes you have to like go really far east or west to get like south or north. So Yeah, there's a lot of like holes in your defenses, I guess, and it's really hard to like actually take out all of the Norskins in there if that's what you're trying to do.
No, you're right. That's one of the reasons why I hate the Norskin campaign is because like the territories don't even make fucking sense. Like the way they structured some of them.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been touched since like Warhammer 1.
No, it has not. I'm like,
Wait, did Norskin come out for Warhammer 1 or was it Warhammer 2?
I think it came with Warhammer 1. Pretty sure.
Yeah. So yeah, the map wouldn't have.
Or maybe it was Warhammer 2. I'm not sure because I know the Chaos armies were a pre-order bonus for Warhammer 2. So.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if Norska came out before them or after, but either way, they haven't been touched since they've been put out there.
Sorry, yeah, it is a Warhammer 1 DLC.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it's 2017.
Everybody hates on Throg.
Throg's a fucking Chad.
Because you had to vomit on people.
Yeah, I have been vomited on. Well, my men have by you, boy.
I like Throg. Before I owned the game, I always wanted to do like a Throg playthrough, and it's kind of sad when because nobody ever did it, and a lot of the playthroughs were really old. And then I played as Throg, and I'm in Norska in general, and I was like, man, I kind of see why people don't play as Norska.
Oh, I get it.
It is bad because they get some cool units, man. My love for werewolves, they get skin wolves, armored skill wolves. Skin wolves.
Yeah, skin wolves are sweet.
Yeah, they are.
I hate them for what they did to my Croxagors in this campaign, but because they're like anti-large, hey?
Yeah, you're right. They are.
So yeah, they'll come up and bitch smack a Croxagor. It sucks. You like have to force them into spears, and even then they'll just like run away because they're crazy fast.
Yeah, they're not afraid to duck out of a fight.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I was like, oh, a mammoth, that's no big deal. Fucking ice or skin wolves, nope. Especially the armored ones. I'm like, oh fuck, I can't do anything against you.
Yeah, I love the armored skin wolves when I get to use.
Yeah, not when they're like bitch smacking your Croxagors.
Yeah, it can be a tough fight. Like I'm torn between saying the Mortal Empires campaign is more difficult if you aren't as tight with your budget and careful about who you hire into your incredibly small military.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get going,
I think Mortal Empires is actually like harder in terms of like actual skill needed to play it, and Vortex is harder because like shit can just happen to you and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, in my experience was that the Mortal Empires start from the Nakai's campaign for Mortal Empires had a way more difficult start, but I was able to get on a good roll faster than in Vortex. But then I think in my first Vortex campaign, where Henowin almost got wiped out, like within not many turns, man.
Yeah.
30. And who knows what else was going on? I mean, Itza had declared war on me. Clan Pestilence, I know, is doing well. So even if I had survived my fights against the Citadel of Dusk, I don't even think it would have mattered. Unless I could really have the space to regenerate my forces, which you don't always have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes the enemy does not leave their cities. You can usually goad them out with going into ambush stance, but sometimes they don't take the bait. They sit there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice thing is that Norskins don't really do that. They just kind of attack you.
Yeah, they're a rush faction, fortunately.
Yeah, they'll hit you.
So
I will say, like, before we move on, Nakai is an absolute like beast of a duelist, I think.
He's not, yeah, because he's got the what is that ability? It's like the slow ability.
Mm-hmm. The Miasma of Despair, I think. Well, I think that's what it's called on the rest of the Croxagor Ancients. But yeah, That's a big one. He is a foot lord, but he's like faster than most foot lords. He's also like technically a large target, so like duelists with like anti-infantry or like small mass, like Malice Darkblade, like for instance, would absolutely just like get crushed by Nakai because he just like knocks him down and then hits him while he's down. I think it's like partially animation and partially just like he's the perfect gooner of that. Like he's really good at just like gooning out an enemy lord because they can't hit him that much.
Yeah. And like you said, he initiates, I think, his charge animation frequently. Like he just goes into that skipping charging animation. And I focused on, I think I gave him a banner for extra charge bonus because his charge bonus right now is like 75.
Yeah.
Which is not
which is like, that's pretty big for like a single unit though.
Yeah. He just disintegrates anything he charges into. Combined with everything else.
No, like max level Nakai is actually really fun, and he's really cool to use because you just like don't have to worry about him getting killed. He's just like so armored and so much health, and I don't think I have any healing on him. But yeah, unless he gets like in a bunch of like really good halberd units, he's pretty much golden.
Yeah, there isn't a whole lot that can be done. Got the armor of destiny on him, which gives him physical resist. Say the Ogum shard, which the Ogums actually had. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. That actually has to do with Albion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they used to be an ancient city. I don't have my notebook number. An ancient city in Albion, where the ancient ones it was kind of like a meeting ground between races, except for the humans, because they didn't really think of us that much. To teach them magic. And the circles, like the stone circles, were created with Ogum stones, and they are what generate the mists that surround Albion. And and originally they actually siphoned off magical energy, because the more magical energy they kind of siphon, the less chaos has to work with.
Right.
But eventually, before Archaon shows up, there's a demon that makes his home in the Citadel of Lead, and he starts to corrupt these Ogum stone circles and the local like priests of the area to his side to start actually causing these stones to release the chaos energies. Which Albion used to be a jungle. Kind of defies logic. And that was kind of.
It seems weird, yeah.
Yeah, it is weird, but the ancient ones make all things possible. And
chaos corruption.
Yes. One of the things I kind of realized there was I guess a book called Shadow over Albion or something. Shadows over Albion.
Yeah.
And it's like after this would be sometime maybe a decade after the Warhammer 2 Total War starts. But talk about an awesome team. Nakai, Mazde Munde, and Krakar all go to Albion because the Dark Elves, the Imperials, and the High Elves and the Greenskins start landing small colonies on Albion. And there's actually a really ancient city of the Lizardmen there. And that's where we get this campaign battle where you have to fight off against the forces of chaos in Albion. And there's a reason for it, is that Nakai had once been there, 8,000 years ago or so.
Yeah. How did you what did you think of that fight, by the way?
That one was not the most. Nakai's fights were actually pretty good. I wonder if that's because they were the later DLC. But that particular fight where you have to fight the chaos was not bad. I had the abilities that Itzel provides, where fortunately I could summon Razordorn, like a Razordorn pack right behind their
Hell Cannon.
The Hell Cannon.
Yeah.
It wipes out the Hell Cannon fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And some Chaos Knights.
Yeah, my thing is like, yeah, every unit that Chaos brings to that is just like big armor piercing like infantry. So you just like have swarms of, I mean, yeah, infantry that like rips apart what you probably have, which is like Saurus and Croxagores. So it was a little bit more tricky. The second time I did it, I had like Blessed Horned ones, and they made a big difference. Just having a mobile force of some sort to deal with things.
No, it definitely helps.
Yeah, because the Lizardmen just don't have that much in their roster.
No, they don't. I don't know why I got kind of hung up on Albion, but the Norskin campaign is kind of like an inverse of the Vortex campaign. You're focused on a very specific geographical area, trying to conquer a city at a time. But I wish there was more focus on Albion, and I'm hoping there's some sort of future there, because I just found it really interesting that Albion actually has this high degree of an importance that develops later on in the Warhammer history, but it's not really explored here at all. And I really would have liked to see some jungles popping up on Albion at the very least after you like set it straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, between like environmental changes and like, I really wish that cities would kind of be like converted to like what you're taking over as, if that makes sense. So like if you are Marcus Wolfheart, for example, and you like take a bunch of Lustrian cities, maybe they shouldn't still be like floating space temples.
No, maybe not.
Or like all the Bretonian settlements that are on the coast of the Southlands, if you take them as the Tomb Kings, maybe they should go back to being the Hakaran sort of style rather than Bretonian, but that's me.
Excuse me. There's a mod that addresses this that I haven't used in a little while. Yeah, it actually it actually adds a layer of the skin on top of the original skin. So say you're the greenskins and you take over a high elf settlement, it will keep the majority of the high elf settlement there, but there'll be a lot of flavor that the greenskins would add to that.
Yeah.
And
way cooler.
I really like it, except for the vampire counts. I don't think they put a whole lot of effort in, and any even minor settlement that the vampire counts take over turned into some sort of like black fortress, and it looks ridiculous because there's just a bunch of black fortresses everywhere.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
So, did you like the Mortal Empires campaign better than the Vortex campaign?
I think I liked it better simply because it went better for me.
Oh, okay. I see.
I figured that you would probably play like more Vortex than Mortal Empires.
Yeah, I usually do.
Just based on what you usually have time for. So
yeah.
I was like, I'll just like do Mortal Empires and see how much time I have left for Vortex. And so I actually like totally conquered all of Norska. And because I looked at the victory sort of conditions and I was trying to actually fulfill as many of them as possible. It's really weird, by the way, in Mortal Empires. You have to destroy like Clan Mulder, Sylvania for some reason, and Wolfric. And like I said, Wolfric takes all of Norska, so that was like the entire campaign was just fighting Wolfric. And then like Clan Moors and stuff like that. And then you also have to send characters to Lustria to get quest items. And you pretty much should just go there anyway because there's not a whole lot else for you to do. But like once I got through with Norska, I was kind of dealing with Clan Mulder. And then I was on really good terms with the Empire until Karl Franz waited till I had sailed away and was like halfway to Lustria, and he was like, "Hey, fuck you and your defenders." The Great Plan. So yeah, war with him for a bit, and then I got to Lustria, and like I was saying earlier, like after 200 turns, the game gets really weird because it's just like 5 major factions
I know.
and a few like dying smaller ones. So like I arrive in Lestria to find Karaza Karak has beaten me there. And and it was like it was the weirdest thing. I'm like trying to get rid of the remains of Marcus, who had like a couple settlements, and like get rid of the Skaven and stuff like that. So I was just trying to like work my way through Lestria, and it was pretty easy. And then it just ended up being just fucky. And at this point, everyone is so huge. Like Malekith was the number 1 power. He's got like everything from Negaron to Lothern like locked down. So he can field like way more armies than my like 1 and a bit. And there was no way I was gonna take him. So I was just like, okay, this is a good point because Marcus is dead, and there's no real big threats for me to deal with, I think. So yeah, it was fun. I definitely played more Mortal Empires than Vortex, but they just play so differently that it's kind of not even the same thing. Like I think if you're gonna play Nakai, you kind of have to specify on which one because they are very different. Did you fall asleep again?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Dude, it's rough, right, man. I'm at like 26 hours.
Does it still count as 26 hours if you had a 5-minute nap?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Yeah,
Fuck you. Yes, it
does.
does. Well, I respect that.
I'm trying, man.
I know. We got it. We're almost there.
I didn't cancel.
Mm-hmm.
I came.
So what did you do? Like right at the beginning of Vortex, you went south.
Yeah, you pretty much have to.
Yeah. And then you ran into that like 1 settlement of the Huntsmarshals and took it out, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. You know, they came out to meet me in open field, which had they stayed in their settlement, I don't think I would have even tried because they did. You know, they had a couple, you know, the rifleman units, and it was kind of just enough to be a little worried. But on the field, you can, you know, I use the skinks as the sacrificial lambs to absorb a lot of that gunfire, and have the you know, the Croxigors swiftly advancing right behind, like going to full speed as soon as they get engaged.
Yeah.
And that was one name crossed off the book because, like we said earlier, you get to cross off like the 4 people. One of them I didn't get to see. The Roderick, like before, he actually got defeated because in my second playthrough, the Huntsmarshals started to lose. Luther Harkon got wiped out at some point. I'm not exactly sure when.
Mm-hmm.
Clan
Lizardman just did really well.
Not even quite. Mazde Munde kind of stuck where he was. He didn't really go anywhere.
Okay.
Tehenowin started doing well, but he got stuck because Clan Scryer absorbed Pestilence, and then Eshin absorbed Scryer. And when Eshin absorbed Clan Scryer, they actually started having some victories against Tehenowin.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's the other thing that makes the Vortex like way harder is that Ikit's there.
Yeah, I actually never fought Ikit. I don't think I did. Maybe in
I
an
totally
auto
did.
resolve, but
Yeah, he was being a little dick to me. Lizardmen are not good at dealing with Doom Wheels.
I didn't have to fight any Doom Wheels.
It just looks for it's like a Carnosaur chasing a Doom Wheel. It's like the fucking T-Rex chase scene from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, yeah, you need like missile units or something to deal with.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of Tretch Craven Tail. I did a couple turns.
Oh my god, did you actually?
Well, there's a mod that came out called Chieftain of the Deep.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and I tried that because you can like really buff up. You get new different types of storm vermin. You can buff up your regular vermin, storm vermin.
Yeah,
and it's kind of cool. And since I never actually played as Tretch, you know, it's a decent, interesting place to start. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But anyway,
so after you like sort of went through the first sort of like what you do, how did you end up with like Tahanawan and the Citadel of Dusk? Because that's like all the way southeast.
I kept kind of pushing that way. You know, I kind of took some of the abandoned settlements because after my first playthrough, I knew for a fact which ones were abandoned. So I kind of pushed to those really quickly because I figured every one of those abandoned settlements was a potential source of income. And, you know, you're just trying to, every time you can field one more unit of Saurus warriors, you're in a immensely better state than you were previous turn.
Right.
Just one extra unit, especially when you're fighting Skaven, because they can't stand up to them. From there, Tahanawan was having great success against pretty much everybody he was fighting against at the time. It's got eliminated pretty early on, being stupid.
That's where you get Gorok.
Yeah.
You fuck.
Could have been friends.
Did you have to fight Kaleda then? Because she's like right next to Tahanawan.
I think I did, but I think I auto-resolved my way. And maybe I fought it. I just don't remember. Man. Kaleda, I fought Kaleda so early. And
she was clearly not very powerful.
No, I mean, she had her unit of like those snake things, but I think the Croxigors helped take them out.
Oh, like sepulchral stalkers?
Yeah, sepulchral stalkers, yes. I think she starts with like one unit of those.
Yeah, probably still had it from the original.
Yeah, and I think my Croxigors were able to take care of that very quickly.
Probably.
I see this is the weird thing. Like, it was such a different kind of paced campaign where it was kind of relaxing in a way. I didn't have to worry about so many different features. It was like I just had to move, figure out if I could recruit or build anything, and then I would move on to attacking, you know, the next objective. And that was kind of nice. You know, I get bogged down in trying to manage multi-settlements, you know, especially when you've got constantly battling public order problems.
Yeah, I found like I definitely did kind of get into a flow after, like, you kind of get your 20 stack, or like your army's pretty powerful to the point that you're not really fighting as many battles. It's pretty easy from there, but the early game is like one of the hardest, I think, in like any campaign I played.
Yeah, all horde factions are very, very difficult. One mistake and you're done. That's it.
You know? Essentially that was it. Like the one time I did everything right. I took like the first 3 ruins, took a settlement from a minor Skaven faction, and as soon as I did that, Pestilence like confederated them, and then I was at war with them, and Skrulk literally like showed up right beside me and just kicked my army that was at like half health, and I just lost the campaign like 7 turns in, and I was just like, yeah, cool, all right.
Yeah, I think I lost mine like 15 turns in because Tahanawan was getting his ass kicked by the Citadel of Dusk, and he offered me a military alliance, and I was like, oh man, if I can confederate with him, I just gotta get my guys down there and save his ass. And yeah, it didn't quite work out that way.
Yeah, that's the other like kind of funny thing too, is that you have the option to confederate some of these legendary lords, and I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like the only sort of like good army leader, well, I guess Krokkar and Mesmundi are both like pretty solid, but if I'm not playing as Tahanawan, I very rarely like confederate him because I don't really need like a beast caster on an ancient stegodon of the gods. Like it's just not that useful. But if it's the only tool you have, then it's really good.
I mean, I swear, I would imagine like, oh my god, what we're just talking about.
We were talking about different legendary lords for the Lizardmen and confederating them as Nakai.
Yeah, something about Tahanawan. I lost it.
Okay, that's fine.
Try. I'm here.
Oh, that's all good. Do you have any more stories from your vortex?
Honestly, the most thing that stood out to me was when I got ambushed like 2 times in a row both times by 2 armies of Skaven. And I just kept beating them back with like maybe like 8 or 9 units. And that felt pretty good. I mean, it was basically just setting up in a box and pushing your way out. And I was trying to do a thing where I would only send out like 2 of my Croxior units, leave the other 2 in reserve, and then rotate them so that way they're always going into the fight fresh. And that
Right.
combined with like the wind spells, did quite a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, broke them both times. But it was crazy because every time they ran away, they actually had a lot of units left over, and I just kept finding myself dwindling and dwindling and dwindling.
Yeah, that is the hard part, is like actually finding replenishment or like not taking enough losses to avoid having to like constantly encamp.
Yeah.
Because like you're one loss away from losing.
That's it.
And with a bunch of Skaven around with ambush stance, they can literally knock out your campaign with like one move that's like super normal to them.
That's why I say never do forced march, not in the beginning. You never know when they're going to show up. You never know.
Yeah. No, I was constantly popping like eyes over all of your territory plus skink chiefs just everywhere, looking like just I have like a line of sight essentially, because Skaven are stupid and I didn't want to lose.
Okay.
But yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on the campaign battles? I know we sort of covered the Chaos one in Albion.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like that one at all?
Yeah, that one was okay. I think the best one is the one versus Luther Harkin. Like I said, it's easier, but it's way more fun because you got like this huge map and a bunch of different ways you can kind of approach it from. So I think that one's like very worth it and probably the best one because it's, you don't fight Vampire Coast that much. As Nakai,
I didn't fight him at all. They
yeah, exactly. As Nakai, you can just not take that fight and stay away from that side, and hopefully Luther just kind of does his thing. So yeah, it's kind of nice to like shake it up a little bit. The battle itself is really good, and yeah,
it's asymmetrical. You actually have to keep the other commanders alive.
That's true. Yeah, and you can't just like worry about yourself and slowly take over everything else. You have to, like I said, I had to send units to other sections of the map just to get them to like lift a rattling gunner from attacking someone else, or like mortars from stopping to bomb the other troops, or whatever.
Yeah, I was summoning my cold one, my feral cold ones, and my Razordorns to kind of fulfill that role. I sent like I think a couple, like 2 Source Warriors over there. And it was cool because if the game didn't make you do that, you could just kind of chill out up there where you start and be pretty well off the rest of the match.
Yeah, you can really just like hold up there and let and use some like faster units to take care of everything else, or the spawns like you used.
Then I finally did the Lord Croak battle.
I didn't actually do it this time.
Archer told me about it last time. You just get hit with sustained waves of Skaven coming at you from one direction. So if you put a little bit of a pressure on, you can make sure that they don't even bother trying to flank you. But that can be difficult. I took quite a few losses because they just kept coming and coming. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, you can get worn down for sure.
Yeah, I advise you to have a really good army when you do this battle. Maybe there's easier ways to do it, but yeah, that's what I had to have.
Yeah, and maybe it's just me, but they're like very spread out in that map, whereas like Skaven is usually just like crawling all over each other just to get to you. Like just the way the map is, that their whole line just comes up staggered, if that makes sense. So there's no like really great opportunities for like flame storms or like chain lightning or anything like that to just like get rid of a bunch of them.
Oh my god, I swear I had the worst luck with chain lightning this time. It never stuck around. I think like one time it kind of drifted into where I was trying to get it to go, but every other time,
I had pretty good luck with chain lightning. Banished hates me for some reason.
Banished?
Yeah, the vortex spell just does not like me.
Oh, does that move around too?
Yeah, that's the like Lore of Light equivalent.
I couldn't remember if that was stationary though.
Oh, okay, yeah, that one moves. And so does Flamestorm.
Dude, it pisses me off when I see them moving and they just take off.
You're like,
Say
stop.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it can be good, but for the most part, I'm just like, no, there's nothing over there. Please come back. I spent so many wins on you. Yeah. And last quest battle would be the battle for Itza, the Marcus Wolfheart versus Nakai showdown.
That was that was just pure chaos, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine was a clusterfuck.
I lost several units, like totally.
Mhm.
I think I'm down to, I went in there with a 20 stack, and I'm now down to 16.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I don't think I might have lost one unit, but I think everyone just came out of it like at 10% health.
Yeah, I've got all my Croxagores are at like 50%.
Mhm.
My Saurus are at like 25. A big problem was I had a couple of units that I just utterly forgot about, and they were just getting pelted with missiles like the entire time.
Mhm.
Just 'cause it was
that's
so
the thing.
chaotic.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have like your forces which have to advance onto Marcus's forces. You've got like 2 extra like slan armies that do jack shit, and as soon as you come and like get into Marcus's sort of like battle lines, I guess, I don't know, there's a bunch of stuff that like spreads out, like his handgunners and his war wagons will like go to a different place. They'll like spread out a little bit, so like you're constantly getting shot. And then like more stuff comes in from the side that's just like more handgunners and like AP missiles and stuff that will pretty much
Luminarch.
like yeah, exactly. There's a fucking Luminarch of Hish of all things that comes in. And yeah, it's just like a clusterfuck of like infantry and Croxagores and Nakai running around. And yeah, that's pretty much what it was for me too. Just being like, I don't know what the fuck is happening, but I'm like trying my best.
That's pretty much was my attitude. There wasn't a whole lot of strategy I could come up with. I just had Lord Croak just casting spells left and right.
Mhm.
My King Priest of Heavens doing what he could, and a few people standing around just getting their ass kicked because I forgot about them.
I thought you didn't use 2 spellcasters at once.
The only reason I didn't get rid of them. I should have at least switched them over. But the thing was, in my other army, I had a Slan leading it, so I had no place for that mage in there.
I see. Yeah.
And Lord Croak had great powers, but I think I convinced myself like, oh, maybe there's some abilities that the King Priest of Heavens I'd rather have in certain situations.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a free arcane arcane conduit, if nothing else, I guess.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess that's worth something.
Mm-hmm. Some extra wins for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. How was it coming back to Nakai after so long ago? We did the Marcus Wolfheart. It's quite it's a stripped down DLC for sure, but you get any weird vibes coming from it or anything like that?
Not necessarily. I'm more just like thinking about how like Ramen the Paunch was so much better.
Yeah. Well, I did like Marcus. I like Marcus's campaign a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Why?
going back to Marcus like a couple of weeks ago was really cool because I like actually had fun with it and was like, oh, if you're not shit at the game, you're you can actually do something. It's hard, but it's not like stupid hard. I thought it was like ridiculous the first time. So yeah, it's definitely the better of the 2 campaigns between Marcus and Nakai. But I do agree with you that like Nakai's a nice change of pace where you just like kind of wreak havoc on whatever you want, and if you just want to fight a bunch of battles as Lizardman, then maybe it's probably the best faction for you.
Especially, when we've been coming off of such, high maintenance, I guess, factions lately.
Yeah, dwarves are pretty up there for sure.
Low
What did we play before Ungrim?
Queek.
Oh right, yeah, that was a a management hellhole. Skaven are really tough to figure out what you're doing.
Once you get it, at least hey, their walls provide money. Remember?
True.
How can you beat that?
I don't know. I guess I don't know.
You can't. That's a trick question.
That's yeah.
Before I pass out again.
Yep.
Would you like when would you recommend this campaign? Because how would you recommend it? Would you recommend it to a new Lizardman player? Because
Fuck no.
He was the only one I really played.
Play Gorok, play Krokgar, play Mazdamundi, and then take a long break from the Lizardman and come back and play Nakai.
That's fair. I think so.
It's not really. I'm glad that it's not my first or second Lizardman campaign, and yeah, I'm surprised you. I guess it's the Horde thing that made it quite a bit easier for you, but it is definitely the hardest one because I feel like Lizardman campaigns are fairly easy. I think Tic-Tac-Toe's the other one that's like kind of dicey. So
that seems kind of dicey to me.
Yeah. If you want like a little bit more difficult start, but you do like playing as the Lizardman, then I think it's a really good option. And like I was saying before, it's a good change of pace just because you're like running around fucking shit up rather than like, which building goes here? Like, should I build public order or some money? Like, you just don't really have to worry about it because you run through Skaven, and that's what Nakai does.
Yeah, he does. He runs through pretty much anything.
So some of his like that camp or the that animation would trigger at some of the weirdest parts where I'm like fighting like an enemy lord or something like that, and he'll continue to do it, and like just there's no one there, but he's run past, like he hit the lord once, and then he's just running. Like, bye, Nakai.
Well, what would you? Do I even need to ask the question?
You have to ask the question. That's like the whole. People wait hours to hear me answer this question.
Days, weeks.
Where is it? I need another shitty explanation from Archer.
Well, it's not shitty. What would you say makes Nakai so renowned and feared?
I mean, besides the bridge incident.
Oh yeah, that was an incident.
Yeah, it's still an incident apparently.
Permanently ingrained on Chaos's like just cultural memory.
Just shudder when I think about it. Yeah. No, I think Nakai is actually really fun to play as in campaign, like just in terms of like a battle sense. He isn't the greatest lord, I will give him that, but he's lots of fun. So like I said, he's good against like other lords, like as a duelist, just because he's bigger and stronger.
He's got that he's got kind of hunting abilities. What was it, the miasma?
Yeah, I think that is like
or of inertia is the advanced version.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is it's really good. And it's useful against like legendary lord or like a lord, or combined with his like perfect vigor sort of aura, I guess. He can like stand with like some Kroxigor and some Saurus and just like sit there forever and not really lose because there's just too many buffs going on at once. Yeah. But yeah. And obviously Nakai in the lore is just like known for showing up, kicking ass, and leaving. So I don't think it really gets much more renowned and literally feared by demons thousands and thousands of years later. So yeah, pretty easy one. This is a low ball this week.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Stay away from any bodies of water in Lustria. You don't know which one Nakai is hiding out in. One of his buddies. God forbid they have the gauntlets of the ancient ones.
Can you imagine? Don't go too close to the water. The Kroxigors will fucking punch you.
Boulder at your face.
Yeah, you're just like walking by and a croc score just comes up and like smacks you across the face once.
Your intestines will literally like leap like 20 feet out of your body.
Yeah. Fuck. That's why I love Warhammer. Just like power fisted giant crocodiles. It's awesome.
Yeah. Brain bursters and dropping foots of gorks. Shit.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, this has been another out there episode of Renowned and Feared. Thank you as always to Archer King for waking my sorry ass up.
Thank you for being here and doing your very best. I'm so appreciative.
I'm sorry, man. I tried.
You did it. You did it. We're here. It's all good.
Well, we're making it to the post show. We gotta do the post show. And anyway, if you stuck with us this far, thanks to everybody who's already subscribed and commented. But if you haven't, join us.
Mm-hmm. No, it's really fun to respond to what you guys think and what you have to say. Sure.
I enjoy it too, and I feel like I'm always learning something new from people. Remember, Chaos United is far more powerful than Chaos Divided. Anyway, we're going to figure out who we're going to play 2 weeks from now, roughly. And one day we'll fucking have some sort of news on the DLC, whatever they decide to come up with that.
Yeah, we'd love to talk about it. It's just, there's not a whole lot there anymore.
No. Nothing. Not a picture. Not a still frame.
Not a single leaf.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Have a good night. Come back for the post show when I get around to posting that. Probably some days later, because I'm gonna go have a coma, and I'll see y'all on the other side. And let me get Craig to get the hell out of here. Craig.
Yeah, Craig, you insensitive fuck.
Fuck off, Craig. Give the man a minute. That's funny. All right. Craig. Bye, everybody.